Welcome everybody. I'm here with the one and only NK. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, man. I'm MK. Just typing from time to time, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, appreciate you for coming on. So like I have a couple topics to talk about today. I mean, obviously, you're a Chelsea fan. I'm a Chelsea fan, but like this channel is a little bit more um generalized than that. So I
Mhm.
guess first place to start is obviously your thoughts on the Man City winning the title this year.
Yeah, um, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Four in a row. It's mental. Um, and the worst thing is they didn't even look that great for. Well, I say great for their standard, right?
Hmm.
They didn't look that great for a large portion of the season, but still, they got out the mud. Um, which is a testament to Pep and the C players. I thought I'll just give out, a few key performers. I thought the way Haaland closed out the season, like the last couple of games, Spurs game, I want to say Wolves game. There was a couple others, but his reintroduction into the team after his injury layoff and the goals he's got, I don't think has been spoken about enough. Like they were pivotal goals basically. So fair play to him. Foden, obviously, player of the season, rightfully so. Uh, KDB comes back from injury, look great. Vardio, closer, apparently now. So, I mean, it's a testament to Pep, even though Arsenal were really putting the pressure on. And they deserve credit too. I don't want to say it was a foregone conclusion, but it's just becoming a standard now, and I don't know what this means for the Premier League, but it's looking crazy. It's looking crazy. Yeah.
No, I definitely agree on that. I mean, um, I guess in terms of like the grander context, I'm about to pull up um where this puts City like in like total trophies for like English clubs. So
Eesh.
because I think
Eesh.
at this point now they would have been um what they have the fourth most league titles for,
Eesh. Yeah, man, I think so.
and I think they're in double digits now.
That is crazy.
So I mean, as a Chelsea fan, it kind of hurts me to say, but it'd be hard for me to argue against who the City being a bigger club than Chelsea at this point.
Ah, 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 Yeah, I mean, it's a painful conversation. If I'm being very very honest, it's a painful conversation because those guys they're going crazy, man. They're
Yeah,
going
yeah. Hold
crazy.
on, I have it pulled up. Do you see it?
Let me.
No, I have it
Yeah,
pulled
I
up.
see it. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
So,
Yeah, two more, right?
yep, they officially have surpassed Chelsea in total trophies as well now.
Mm, mm,
So,
mm.
it really is one of those things where it's like, you know, and because I know from what I've gone of like the fan culture in England, right? It seems like Man City is kind of just one of those teams where if people don't want their rivals to win, their teams can't win, they'll
Yeah.
just be like just let City have it or whatever. But it's kind of funny because it's kind of getting to a point now where if no one does anything, those conversations about to start looking tough.
Very spooky. Very spooky. I think sorry to cut you off. I think let me speak from a guy that lives in England, right? That lives in London. I
Hmm.
think it's a case of I think there's a pep tax that people are taking into account, right? I feel like there was a city before Pep and there's a city during Pep. So people are just watching this City team win and accumulate trophies, right? And they've been great, they've been phenomenal. But they're like, oh, that goes towards like Pep's greatness, right? And I
Yeah,
think especially because Liverpool is in a London club, right? But more so with Arsenal challenging now, I think is like everyone is waiting, bro. Everyone's waiting for the day Pep leaves this league, and then we're gonna see. I think there's an honest question though as to where do you see rank in terms of successful clubs, in terms of like trophy wise. I mean, it's clear they're one of the best in the modern era. But in terms of stature in the game, that one there is a different question. I think you'd be more entitled to answer that question because from what I'm told, there's a lot of City fans in America, and so
actually, yeah, surprisingly so. Like one of my closest friends is a City fan.
yeah,
Actually, I do know a couple of City fans. Obviously, like like City's dominance kind of like coincides with like the Premier League's like increased
growth,
global.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
I think the other thing to keep in mind too, right, is like especially as we get older, and like the younger kids start to become like like preteens, teenagers, or whatever.
yeah,
Like this City that they see now is what they're going to know as like the dominant team, right? Because
yeah, 100%.
like I have to show my age a little bit. I think Sir Alex Ferguson retired when I was around like I want to say like 12 years old. So up until I was like in middle school, like right, like Man United were really like that, so to speak. So and if I see like my cousin now, like I have a cousin, he's like 13, like he's literally never been alive when Man United were an actual like serious institution.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, it's just one of those things where I think the stature thing just kind of comes with time, right? But they at this point they have all the requirements. Like for me, I kind of have um 4 different ways I would consider a club to be a big club, and I feel like, and I have like 4 different criterias, and I feel like
mm,
if for clubs that I consider to be big, so and it is kind of arbitrary, but usually I consider a club big if they have at least double digits in like their league titles, right?
okay.
Or if let's say they have at least 5 and a UCL,
Mhm.
or if they have at least, or if they have multiple UCLs and like 5, or kind of any mixture of what I just said.
Yeah,
So like because I know a lot of people don't really rank league titles like that highly anymore for whatever reason, but I still think that like league dominance still counts for something because like like that's where you play like 90% of your games is in your league, right? So
mm, mm,
um so I guess switching over a little bit, okay, let me ask you this: Arsenal,
yeah.
if you were the sporting director at Arsenal, right? Given
Mm.
everything that's happened this season, what would be your first course of action for next year?
Eesh, that's a phenomenal question. That's a phenomenal hypothetical. That's tough, you know. I would have first actually let me can I just say something quickly first?
Yeah, go ahead, go.
Obviously I'm a rival fan, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
I can't stand Arsenal. Can't stand their fans. I can't like that, there's no club I hate more, right? But I want to give them credit for this season. Great season. If I was the sporting director, if I was Edu, first course of action, I'll get me a striker. I'll get me a striker. I can't give you a name. You know, I've heard Gokeres, I've heard Osimhen.
no,
I,
what I can do for you. Hold on, I can pull up. Let's look at the some of the top strikers around the league. Do you see the screen I got on right now?
yeah, I see the scene. I see the
All
scene.
right, so for the top goal scorers in the Premier League, so obviously we have Haaland, who's not going to go anywhere. And Cole Palmer is not a striker, but out of all
Mm,
the top performing strikers, so we have Isak on 21,
mm.
Ollie Watkins, Dominic Solanke. And wow, look at freaking Mateta. He just came up out of nowhere.
Yeah, a
What freaking
coach.
happened today? Oh, what were you saying, okay?
I was saying that's what happens when you have a coach. But I'll leave that later. I will get to
Okay,
that.
yeah, I already know where you're alluding to with that, but yeah, but don't worry, we'll have a section for that later. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because especially because if I remember, right, I think Newcastle they're in a position where they have to sell one of their top players, right?
I was gonna say, right, bro. Um, if Isak's available, or even if he's not available, but you could, sort of, when clubs agitate a player to the point where they might start doing stuff on their side.
Yeah,
If Alexander Isak is a player that you can do that with, and I'm out and I'm Arsenal sporting director, I'm doing that, man. I'm doing
yeah,
that. I think
I totally agree. He's such a good player, man. Like,
I think it's I don't want to put that pressure on him, but if you're asking me who could rival Haaland, sorry, goal wise, Isak in that Arsenal team, and I think he's putting up comparable numbers. I really do. I really do. Like that guy's crazy.
Wow, that's. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd go that far, but I do agree though. Like that guy is such a good player, like
Bro.
a good goal scorer. He's such a good dribbler too for how big he is. Like
For real.
Like great touch, great technical ability. It's genuinely insane. Like you could like he definitely the way he moves like a top world class player. Like just the way he
Glides, right?
Exactly. Like I don't like it's crazy. I do agree. I do agree with that. So I have the top goal scorers for La Liga this year. Bro, this guy is crazy, but you know he scored 4 goals today?
Soloff.
Yes. Like
Jeez, he finished top scorer.
Villarreal because Villarreal was playing Madrid today and the game ended 4-4 and Madrid were up 4-1 at the end of the first half.
Eesh.
So yeah, that is also crazy as well. And
no penalty goals did I see, right? He had no penalty goals.
Yeah, no. So 23 goals for Solar. And in fact, you know what? Let's get because usually when it comes to strikers, I like to usually see like what they do on a consistent basis. So last year, 16 goals for Sociedad, 12 in the league. So, I mean, obviously he hasn't really done much before that, but like he's only he's 28, so he's in the prime of his career right now. So, I guess next year we could see if that's a fluke. This season was a fluke, or if it's actually like reflects his true quality. We have the Dovbyk guy from Girona.
Oh no, apparently he's had a good season.
Yeah, 21 goals in the league. Oh no, sorry, 20 should I say in the league. Obviously we know about Girona and what they were doing this year.
Yeah.
And then for the Bundesliga, I know obviously Kane was top scorer and had the Guirassy guy as well. But some other guys to shout out to was I know Openda on Leipzig, Boniface for
shout out Boniface, man. Shout out Boniface. That's my guy.
I just want to see if there's anybody else that I'm. Oh, Undav. I remember this guy from. He also plays in
Brighton, right?
No, yeah, he used to play for Brighton. He also played in
Stuttgart.
Yeah, Stuttgart as well.
Yeah, he got selected for the Germany team. So apparently he had a mad season. So
I think he had like 18 goals and like 9 assists or something like that.
Yeah, man.
So,
damn.
Yeah. And he's wow, I didn't even realize he's only a loan on Stuttgart, so he's going back to Brighton this year.
Yeah, I think I might be wrong. I think they're making it permanent. I could be wrong, but I think Stuttgart might be making that deal permanent.
See, maybe that's how we should do with Brighton from now on. Maybe just loan out their players and then maybe sign their awful prices after it's a proven that they're actually worth whatever everybody Brighton are trying to scam you out of.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the Arsenal conversation. So you were saying your sporting director first point of business is signing a striker.
Mm-hmm.
Would you try to like look for a guy specifically in their prime? Would you try to go for someone that's kind of ascending in terms of their quality, or what would be kind of the age range you think Arsenal should like?
Would it make sense if I said both? Like Isak,
so like somebody that kind of falls into what you just said right now would be like someone like a Lautaro Martinez, right? 26 years old, 24 goals in the league, has the consistency, scored 28 last year, 25 the year before that. Still pretty young. Good season, great season overall. Would that be someone that because I think Osimhen, I think he was really injured this year.
Yeah, he's quite injury apparently he has an issue with injuries, possibly. I don't know for a fact, but he missed out a few games. Lautaro, I'm not a fan. Let me be honest. But if you're talking about age profile, yeah, I need a grown man. Pause. Like Arsenal would need a experienced striker.
What about Vlahovic?
Vlahovic, I don't tap into Serie A too much, so forgive me, but that is someone, right? that is a dispatcher, if that makes sense. Like the
So
guy
like
just gets goals.
yeah, because I think the thing with Arsenal, right, and Arteta specifically, is he's definitely a striker that does other roles for me, merchant. So,
Mm.
and obviously I don't think Vlahovic has the tools for that kind of play. But yeah, if
Yeah,
Arteta just kind of like tweaked his system a little bit to just focus on feeding his striker chances, then yeah, I could definitely see that working out. And honestly, just looking at Arsenal's season, since we're talking about them for a little bit right now, like it all falls back to those December fixtures, man. It's all because I know people are gonna talk about this Aston Villa game right here, but like realistically speaking, right, like you're not. I'm not gonna fault the team for losing one game in an entire calendar year.
yeah. It was the back-to-back to West Ham and Fulham that did it to them. Yeah,
Exactly. Like this specific run right here is what is actually crazy when you're dealing with City, because basically this run right here is the reason why Arsenal were not going to win the league.
with the league. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's tough. It's tough. It's unfortunate. I remember watching the game. That was around New Year's, right? Like end of the year. The worst thing is that they weren't horrible in those games. The attack was stale. Yes, I'd agree, but they weren't actually like they were in control of those games. They just couldn't score. For the most part. The West Ham game and then the Fulham game. I think Saka got like a deflection.
From what I remember of the West Ham, yeah, I no. From what I remember the West Ham game, yeah, you can even tell by like the momentum here. Like they were just
bro.
30 shots. Yeah, it truly is unfortunate, but like I guess that's just the sport, man.
That's the sport, man. That's the sport. Yeah, like I don't know what you could say, because I have this conversation with different football fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they say, oh, like they look at points tallies, and I just think like when it comes to Pep, I don't really think there's much like Arsenal could do, right? I just think Pep is just gonna do better, if that makes sense, because you're talking about a 3-game run in December that has cost you the league, right?
Yeah,
And it's just, and I don't know if I can explain it in a way that would make sense, but I don't think it's about Arsenal in that case. They did, right? 9 times out of 10, they win the league this season. You're just facing Pep, like is a formality. It's crazy. The guy is crazy, man.
I mean, honestly, because yeah, like the funny thing about Pep is I don't think this dude's ever lost a close title challenge, right? Because even when Mourinho won it with Madrid, because he's only ever not won the league twice in his entire career, right? That one season with Mourinho and that Chelsea season, and 3 times, sorry. So that one season with Mourinho, his first season at Man City, and that Klopp Liverpool 2020 season, right?
Yeah.
And Mourinho got 100 points. I think Pep got like 85 or something like that. So that was like 15 points off. The Conte Chelsea season, I'm pretty sure Pep got like 78 points or something like that. And I know Chelsea got 93. So that's another 15 points. And then obviously Liverpool got freaking 99 points. And I think Pep got like 81. So that's like 18 points off. So he's never not won a league title in which he was actually like involved for the entire duration of the season.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Crazy stuff. Like it's like 13 of the last. He's 13 out of 16, right? That's yeah. He's won 13 out of 16 league titles.
And it's crazy because I think it's more like 12, because I know he missed a year, because I know he took a year off, right?
Oh, he took a sabbatical, right?
Because he won 3 at Barca, 3 at Bayern, and then he's won 6 at Man City? I want to say 6.
I want to say 6.
Yeah, so you're looking at
last 7, yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at 12 in 15, because he took a year off, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, last thing on Man City before I go a little bit further down the table. What do you think this does for the Pep Sir Alex Ferguson debate, or if that debate's even still alive at this point? I don't even know.
you're asking me personally, I think Pep's the best manager of all time. Um, I and I'm a Mourinho guy, right? But I came to terms with that decision last season, based on a treble, a win. Um, and then this year, I thought it would be the time where it like Arsenal would win it. But to have this level of discipline and motivation, like SK, I don't see how you could give me another coach, especially in my lifetime. Anyway, in my lifetime, that is better than this guy Pep. I mean, shout out to Alex Ferguson, legendary coach. Um, United still haven't recovered, right?
Mhm.
But
I mean,
this Pep guy is different.
honestly, okay, do you know the season that kind of convinced me of Pep's greatness? It was this season right here. If you still tapped into the screen right now,
Yeah.
18-19. This
Mm.
this year specifically was when I knew, okay, like, no, this guy is really like that,
Yeah.
because like to battle a team that got 97 points and you pipped them to the title, like,
Mm.
that is genuinely insane amount of consistency. And I think, honestly, for me, like, I know people like to, I know obviously the Champions League is a more prestigious trophy, right?
Mm.
I don't disagree with that. But when it comes to how I rank kind of managers versus players, I usually hold more weight to what managers do in a league season as
Mm.
opposed to a knockout competition. Just
Yeah.
because, obviously, like in a knockout competition, there's like so many more co-founders.
Variables, right?
Exactly, there's more variables, more co-founders, whatever. Like, if your players just have an off day that day and you lose, it could not necessarily be because of your tactics. It could have just been, like, players had an off night that night, or if
Right.
vice versa. Whereas, obviously, in a league format, it's going to even out throughout the season. So if your players have off nights like for like 5 games in a row, then that's obviously due to something that the manager is doing,
It's
and
doing, yeah.
and vice versa. So like, I definitely, yeah, that's why I rank, how managers do in a league format higher in terms of when I compare the two. And it's just insane, like 100 points, 98 points, 4 league titles in a row.
Four
It's
numbers.
And like, I think what really is crazy, it's not like he's going up against like trash teams. Like
Mm.
this is this was a Liverpool team that literally won the UCL, made a UCL final like the year prior, and then made another UCL final a couple years after that. So it's like,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
he's going crazy. He's going crazy.
yeah. And while we're on the topic of Man City, just to shout out to some of their players, you know, Foden has been. I think this is. I just gonna sound kind of crazy. I think this is his breakout year as kind of an elite player
Mm.
for their squad. Um, I mean, 19 goals, 8 assists in the Prem this season. I think he has like 25 and 15 overall or something like that. Overall, or something like that.
Mm.
Uh, Genuinely, like, that
Top
is,
season.
yeah, that's world class production right there. Like,
Yeah.
and then I think what's even been crazier too is he's been so clutch. Like, especially if you see right now, okay, like kind of when he's gotten a lot of his goals, like, you know, he got 2 goals, popped up with 2 goals today when they needed it.
Yeah.
Maybe let's see if I can go a little bit further back, because I do remember him scoring some goals when they were in close matches.
Yeah.
Scored it, like, for example, scored against Bournemouth when to get them to win when they need it. Like, I just remember him popping up so many times. I got a hat trick against Aston Villa in
Mm.
April. 2 goals against Man United in March. So just kind of like the clutchness of like when he's really decided to turn up too. That's why I definitely really rate the fact that he won player of the year this season.
Yeah. Um.
Mhm.
With regards to Phil, I don't even, and the crazy thing is, I don't even think numbers does him justice, right? If you
Yeah.
look at some of the goals this guy has scored this season, it's been crazy. Like, even today, the first goal against West Ham is a crazy goal. It's a crazy goal. It's a crazy goal. I remember, what game was it? Or even the past, like I'm even going off the couple because I can't think off the top of my head. The game against Spurs, that pass he played into Doku, who then won the pen, right? On the
Yeah.
money, on the bounce, pass, right to Doku, who then like created a scenario where he got the pen. Phil Foden has been phenomenal. I think the first game of the season was Newcastle, if I'm
I think they played Newcastle.
or it might have been a couple of games
I
down
think
the
I
line.
think I think yeah, I think it was like the second game because I think it was the
Yeah,
same weekend United played Tottenham.
yeah. Oh, sorry. It might have been City's first quasi big game, right?
Yeah.
And the way this guy played that game, I think should have like you look back at that and be like, yeah, that's the sort of season he's gonna have in KDB's absence, right? This guy stepped up.
Actually, like look, like the dude overperformed his expected goals by like 9 goals.
He went crazy, man. He went crazy.
Like that is genuinely like that difference in XG compared to how many goals you scored is genuinely insane. Like that, so he almost performed it by like 100%. So like yeah, that just shows kind of the level of production that he did this season. Also, somebody else that for Man City that really showed up in terms of production was Rodri as well.
Rodri, man.
Like
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie, we might have to have those Busquets conversations. I know people I know people don't want to hear it. You know, I know people don't want to talk about it, but genuinely 8 goals, 9 assists in 34 matches. So a goal or assist every other game while giving you elite defensive cover and elite passing as well.
You see, first things first. I didn't know how this guy was on the shortlist for Player of the Year. I think that's an absolute joke. That he didn't get nominated for Player of the Year. Rodri's been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal this season as well. Mainstay, model of consistency, clutch, a defensive midfielder that's clutch. Bro, like I remember when he crashed it on against Chelsea, I wasn't even surprised, man. When they got the draw, I
Yeah.
wasn't even surprised. I wasn't even surprised because the guy has a habit of doing it. Champions League final, he did it. When it comes to the Busquets comparisons, I think this one it depends on what your flavor is, right? Because Busquets is my guy. But Rodri does it in a different way. But it might be just as special, you know, if we're being honest, because this isn't normal either, right? To come up with the goals, to build up his technical quality, is not normal.
Because I think because the thing that really kind of encapsulates it for me for Rodri is like to your point, like because defensively, because I have gone back, I watched a lot of Busquets comps, and like you know he's not as good as defensively as Busquets. Like Busquets surprisingly is a very very good defender because of his long, especially because of his long ass legs.
Frame, right? Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not like he's just able to really get nick balls off of like for like the tackles in cover distances that you wouldn't really expect given like his lack of athleticism. But I would say Rodri defensively is like giving you like 75% of what a Busquets giving you. But and obviously like so then the question is just like that offense, man. And I understand obviously when it comes to Busquets, right? Like he played in a Barcelona squad where he didn't really need to do all of that. You know, you had Messi, you had Iniesta, you had Xavi, David Villa, and all that. So like obviously, you know, your offensive quality is kind of going to be a little bit diminished because like it's just kind of be a little bit redundant, right? That's why Yaya Toure didn't work out there either. So, but it's just like even then, given that context, even then, like 20 goal contributions in all competitions while giving you like 3/4 of the same elite defensive capability of a Busquets is wild. It's just wild. Like, because I'm not gonna, I'm a guy that's always gonna favor production, no matter what position you are, except maybe if you're like a center back or whatever. So I'm always gonna keep that in mind. Um, yeah, and I guess in terms of Man City, before we move on from there, I'm trying to think if there's any other players that we really need to like mention like that. I mean, I know obviously Haaland won the top goal scorer with 27 goals, which is still like a lot of goals, but like I guess it probably just speaks to his quality that like the dude scored 27 and like no one really like cares like at all.
Mm. And he
Um,
missed like what? How many games did he miss?
he missed 7 and he only started 29 games and he scored 27 goals.
They were big goals as well. It wasn't like the first. Well, I don't want to say even the first season, right? But they were big goals. They were really big goals, man. Fair play to him. Fair play to him.
Yeah, especially 2 goals against Tottenham
Yeah,
on Tuesday, like coming up very, very clutch like that.
clutch.
Because
Forest. I remember the Forest game. They got away with that in the Forest game as well.
yeah, shout out to Danny Burns.
Yeah.
No, not Danny Burns. Sorry, Christopher Wood.
Chris Wood was selling that game.
I think he scored against Chelsea in that first game as well in the 4-4.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah. Keep going.
I don't know if it was a pen, but either way, he's been money. He's been money. I know people have a question about his big game like resume, but in the title race to close, he's been money. So fair play to him.
Oh, and he realized he scored against. I forgot. Yeah, he scored against Liverpool as well when they played them back in November.
Mm.
Oh, I do remember that because that was when Ake cooked Trent in the build-up. No, Trent, bro, you got. Yeah, that was bad. But
I remember that. Yeah, that feels like 2 seasons ago. Yeah, I remember that.
No, I know it was only in November. That's crazy. Okay, so that's enough glazing of the blue team from Manchester and
Yeah.
sick of those bastards. Now to our other, I guess, top 4 teams, Liverpool and Aston Villa. So Liverpool, 82 points. You could just really tell, 41 goals conceded, 7 more than Man City, 12 more than Arsenal. Also, before we actually get to the Liverpool thing, I don't know if you've noticed, defensively this season, all the teams have been ass. Have you noticed this?
I haven't noticed that. I haven't noticed that. What?
Like Arsenal have the best defense at 29, City have like 34, and after that, it's just a complete like no one else has below 40 after that. Like, and I think I think I saw a stat like that this might have been the most goals in a Premier League season.
In a Premier League season? I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm just gonna check that right now because
I
would believe it. Like the fact that only 2 teams conceded less than 40 goals this entire season is crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah. This is the record for the most goals in a top flight season.
I think people got their licks in v Sheffield. I think they conceded the most. They conceded 104 goals. Jeez. But yeah.
In fact, this was 24 more than even when you include the fact that back in the day it was 22 teams in the league as opposed to 20. And and even then they conceded 24 more than that.
I think that trend is going to stay high, as well with the goals. Yeah, Liverpool.
Well, yeah, back to Liverpool. Honestly, it's such I don't even know really what to make of them this year because you can say they fell off and they definitely did that. 3 goals conceded to Aston Villa, lost to Atalanta, lost to Crystal Palace, lost to Everton for the first time in like a gajillion years, lost to Man United in the FA Cup. So obviously, they capitulated towards the end, but at the same time, it's like, going into the season, people were not high in Liverpool like that to really do anything. Especially when you look at their squad, obviously you still have some more class players in Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, I guess, Salah. McAllister was a good revelation this year, but then, Thiago never plays. Did he even play this year at all? Actually, didn't play.
He played one game, and then I think he got injured.
No, he played for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So the dude didn't play like at all. Honestly, Thiago, McAllister, Endo midfield might have actually cooked, but that's beside the point. No, Robertson. I don't think he played until towards the end. Only played 23 matches.
Yeah, he got injured.
So you kind of look at where their squad was last year. You look at what people expected from them. And when you look at it through that context, I guess 7 points off of the champions, isn't really that bad, I guess. Right? Because what last year, I think, what did they have last year? Let me check where they finished last year. Like how many points they got last year. I don't remember off the top of my head right now, but I know it wasn't. It certainly wasn't good. So they got 67 points last year. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got 67 points last year. So you're looking at a 15 per point increase or improvement in how many points that they got. And I think last year, I'm pretty sure they were decimated with injuries last year as well. So they obviously would have contributed to that as well. But yeah, so obviously Klopp's leaving now. Questions about Salah and if he's gonna stay, and obviously there's the likelihood of Saudi coming in for him again for like another 9-digit transfer fee. Questions of I don't know, Alisson, Van Dijk, the older guards of that team. So like if you're Liverpool now, like what is your course of action? A new manager, squad turnover, all of that stuff.
Course of action. Well, they've got Arne Slot.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the Netherlands recently, actually, and I was speaking to a Rotterdam fan because Rotterdam. I was there the weekend that Rotterdam beat Ajax like 6-0. I want to say 5-0 or 6-0. I forgot what the score was.
Yeah,
something crazy, right? And this guy was raving about Arne Slot, saying he's a top coach. He won't be here for much longer. He's going to go to a big club, and he goes to Liverpool. Stylistically, I think it's a good fit from what I've been hearing. I don't watch Eredivisie, so I can't comment. But stylistically, it's a good fit. But I think it's an interesting time for if I was a Liverpool fan. In terms of you're asking what I'd do. I'd keep Salah for one more. The issue is, do you want Salah to go in a free? Probably no one wants that, right? But I think it would be in the coach's best interest, right, to keep Salah.
Because what's it called too? Because they got the old sporting director back.
Michael Edwards, right? Yeah.
So they have him back, and obviously he was also a big piece of why Liverpool reached at the heights that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I think from what I've heard of his like recruitment style, he's very much a numbers guy. Like he likes to.
Yeah, he's data driven. Yeah.
So. So I'll give him. So obviously, like he has the credit in the bank already of have success at the club. In terms of bringing in players and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. So yeah, we'll see what kind of goes on for them. Obviously, Endo was brought in as a stopgap. McAllister is going to be one of their midfielders for the future, and I don't know what's in the works for Thiago. Obviously, his
contract's up, right?
I'm not sure actually if it's up.
I think his contract's up. I think he's
okay.
gone.
Yeah, he's probably gonna leave. Van Dijk's what? I think he's like 32, 33 now at this point.
Yeah, he's been saying things like he's not sure and so on and so forth. He's gonna assess his future. It's an interesting time. There's decisions to be made. I would say they're gonna have to look at that midfield again. I'm sorry. Szoboszlai is a huge season for him next year. I think it's a massive season for him because we didn't hear any. I think he started off okay, then we didn't hear anything for the rest of the year. Like I didn't hear anything. He got injured, to be fair to him, and then I just didn't hear anything. Gravenberch is a young player. I haven't heard too much. I've seen that recently he's sort of grown into a role, but there's still question marks as to Gravenberch. Like you said, Endo's a stopgap. So I'll look at that midfield again. I said on the chat, I honestly think if Moises Caicedo went to Liverpool, they would have won the league.
Oh wow.
I honestly think, but Moises is my guy, so
yeah, don't worry. We'll be getting to him in due time. Don't worry about that.
I think this new coach, I think Gakpo would benefit tremendously. Just because I think Gakpo is a really clean player, but I think he got lost in the flow of Klopp's like style, if that makes sense. Because I think he's much more of a clean cut sort of player. I think he's more like precision based, if that makes sense. Whereas Diaz, Nunes, Salah are more like
chaotic.
Yeah, chaotic runners. Those guys can run for fun, whereas Gakpo is a bit more measured. So I think he'd be beneficial with the new coach. But there's a lot of question marks to be made. I mean, even Darwin Núñez.
Oh, BBL Darwizzi?
Yeah, BBL Darwizzi. BBL Darwizzi.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one. I made that one up myself. So
that was a good one. No, that's a good one.
Thank you.
I think BBL Darwizzi. You're gonna have to ask the question soon, because that's a lot of money tied up, and you're gonna have to ask the question. I don't know.
11 goals.
Know what that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say 11 goals, 8 assists, 36 matches.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but I think
I think especially if Salah ends up leaving, they're going to have to replace his production somehow. Like to your point, right? Like the dude ended up with 18 goals, 10 assists for the season. He only played 32 matches, so he wasn't even like really at the races like that either. So
yeah, I mean, look, it's a new period of transition. I've spoken to a few Liverpool fans that said that they'd love to see what the midfield composition would be like, because the old guard in terms of midfielders were mostly like runners, like legwork guys, engine room guys like Wijnaldum.
It's funny. Sorry to cut you off, Frank. I was gonna say one of the midfield archetype that they kind of failed to replace, and I think kind of contributed to their downfall was I was actually thinking about this was Wijnaldum.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Like you had because he's essentially a perfect claw player. Like you had the industry of our Henderson, where he can do defensive work, but he was also actually a good technical player, good going forward. Because especially I remember when he was at Newcastle, he had a very like above average goal scoring for a midfielder.
Midfielder, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for a midfielder, yeah. So also a very underrated player that they didn't replace. And I guess two last things I want to ask you for about Liverpool is one is kind of a shorter question. Probably requires like a shorter answer, and one probably requires like a longer answer. So short answer question: where do you see Liverpool next season? Do you see them challenging for the title, finishing top 4, battling for top 4, finishing top 6, battling for top 6, or none of the above?
I see them battling for top 4. I think they'll finish top 4. There'll be the top 4 race next year is going to be crazy, but I think they'll battle for top 4 and get it.
So like and obviously you see how like, do you see them being closer to kind of like where Aston Villa are, where like they are in the top 4 race, but it's kind of just like, oh, like we have to like work for it throughout the entire season, or it's gonna be really comfortably?
Nah, they're gonna have to work. They're gonna have to work for it. They're gonna have to work for it next year, definitely. Yeah, they're gonna have to the competition in terms of top 4. Like me personally, I think the top four race is the most entertaining thing about the Premier League right now.
Yeah, screw you, Pep. That's Pep.
Literally. Um,
Um, yeah, no, I do agree, unfortunately. And the other question I was gonna ask you is, speaking about Klopp specifically, where do you think, like, how would you rate his time at Liverpool, and specifically, where do you think it could have gone better? Because that's really what I want to focus on. Is the second part, because I'm a negative
um,
Nancy.
that's a good question. I think Klopp's been great. I know people are gonna look to the one Prem and one Champions League. Um, but his success is measured differently. I think the way he took, I think the way he sort of ingratiated himself with the community at the Merseyside. Um,
So I can even pull up his stats for you if you want. These are his stats at Liverpool if you see it.
yeah,
204 matches, 209 wins, 41 losses, 714 goals, 333 goals against, 10 manager of the months, 2 managers of the seasons, a Premier League champion. Um, and obviously, he doesn't go into his other trophy accolades as well, like the UCL and stuff. But continue.
yeah. I mean, it's impressive. It's impressive. You, I again, like I said, people are gonna do the trophy count, and it's justified. But just the way because you have to think of where Liverpool were before he joined.
Oh yeah,
The amount
we
of
know.
yeah,
Shout out to Brendan Rodgers.
the amount of trash players that they had, and the job he's done. Um, they lost along the way, and I think Klopp's time at Liverpool is a testament to the journey more so than anything, the journey to respectability, right?
Yeah,
Um, I think that can't be stated enough. In terms of the culture he put in the throughout the club, amazing, amazing. So yeah, you could look at the trophy count and say it might be a bit underwhelming, but I'm talking now. Now you're going to off the pitch stuff. You're not really even going to like success per se, right? But you're going to the intangible side. That's probably where I see Klopp's greatest achievement. Um, I'll say where he went wrong. I'll actually say quite a big knock on Klopp was last season. I don't think he managed well last season. Where did they finish? Fifth, right?
yeah, they finished fifth, 67 points. And I think it was looking scary for a while because I think they ended up just picking up form towards the end of the season.
Yeah, towards the end of the season. I don't think he managed well last season. Yeah, I think that's probably my knock. Like obviously a few other things. I spoken to a few local like Chris, my boy Chris. In terms
Yeah,
of
I don't know why he's not showing his annoying
yeah,
South African face on this live, but it's all good.
yeah. In terms of maximizing Salah. Um, but hey, Klopp's still been successful, right? So
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I definitely err more on your side in terms of like, not just trying to like, not like if we're not gonna just go off of like pure narratives and just trying to be like, oh, he only got one title in 9 years or whatever, and kind of just really acknowledging like the juggernaut that he went up against. And I think other thing that kind of gets lost is that even before Pep City became the juggernaut that it became, right? Like Klopp had to spend like 2 seasons trying to build this Liverpool team into something
yep,
that was respectable because he first got there initially, like they were ass. And in fact, I'm actually thinking about it, and as a Chelsea fan, it kind of annoys me because the season they were ass was the same season Chelsea were ass, and yet somehow Liverpool were the one that ended up with him. But
mm,
that, but that's neither here nor there, right? They obviously, I think that was the year he tried to get to the Champions League through the Europa League. think he even ended up beating Man United on the way there. Had that amazing tie with Dortmund as well. I don't know if you remember those two ties.
Yeah, yep. Great.
Obviously he fell to the Europa League merchants.
Sevilla's, yeah.
Yeah. So you already knew, So damn. So if you think about it, that's just foreshadowing for his European final outings against Spanish teams that specialize in that specific competition. But and then he spent kind of the next 2 years, kind of just trying to establish Liverpool into a top 4 team. You can kind of see here they finished 4th on 76 points, only a point ahead of Arsenal. Shout out to the winners of that season, Chelsea. But speaking of Liverpool, they finished 4th that year. It's the 17-18 season. They finished 4th again. But being able to kind of really show that they can be a consistent, top 4 team, and then obviously from there, they got Van Dijk in the middle of the season, and that's when they was able to like build to, when Liverpool kind of became the modern Liverpool that we know and love, I guess. Well, I don't know about love, but you know what I mean. The modern Liverpool that became the perennial title challengers for City, and also I think where it went off for him was unfortunately this specific year right here, 2020, 2021, because from what I remember of this year, I think Liverpool started off well and I think they just their entire team just died.
Got injured. Yeah.
Like they just all vanished into nowhere. And honestly, let's see if I can even. I'm going to see if I can pull up I'm going to try to pull up the fixtures for that year because I genuinely do remember them. Because the only thing I remember them screwing up was when they got smacked by Aston Villa 7-2.
Yeah, that was near the start of the season, no?
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm not even going to give them that much crap for that because I remember Man City getting clapped by Leicester 5-2 that same weekend.
Game week, right? And I think United lost to Tottenham.
Yes,
as well.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, hold on. I'm about to pull this up right now. So I'm gonna pull up I found it. So the dude, do you see it right now?
Yeah.
So the dude lost one of his opening 16 matches of that following season to try to reclaim, double on his league that he won in 1920. And if you go by the results by match, they were first up until the ending of December, right? So, and then you kind of just look at all the Reds after that in 2021. So, obviously, the reason why I bring this up is one, obviously, 6 losses in 7 matches is genuinely insane, given how what we know Liverpool to be under Jurgen Klopp, and it's even more insane because then they ended up having a good run of form towards the end of the season, where they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of their last 10 matches. So literally and obviously given how Man City didn't really win the league on anything impressive, they only won on 86 points. So it was just kind of unfortunate for Jurgen that his squad just combusted in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And I think the other reason why it was kind of underrated to show for in terms of why he didn't win more is I think after this year, this should have been the year where they really decide to go and try to retool and bring in fresh blood for the team and especially that midfield. And he just didn't do it. Right? Obviously, he was loyal to the players,
very loyal
to the dance, and obviously I'd say loyal to a fault. And that's really what did him in, right? Once Henderson wasn't the same anymore, Wijnaldum left. What's that?
Fabinho?
Yeah, Fabinho wasn't the same either. To be fair, I think Fabinho was still good up until last season.
Last year.
And then, Keita was always injured.
Jeez.
Oxlade-Chamberlain
was hanging.
Oh yeah. Oxlade-Chamberlain was also always injured. I think Thiago was actually good that first year, and because he still actually kind of played a little bit, but he didn't really fit into that midfield as seamlessly.
I think Thiago's issue was injuries as well. I thought when he played, I thought he was
Yeah. No, like
yeah.
Yeah. He was good that first year. He was. I
Yeah.
remember him being good that first year, and then he just kind of. I don't want to say he fell off, but yeah, he just started getting injured a lot after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think I think this was probably the most underrated in terms of season for Klopp in terms of just how massively it kind of contributed to his Liverpool tenure.
That was the season Alisson scored a goal, right?
I think so. Actually, I think you're right. I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I remember because I think Alisson's dad passed away, right? And I think that's when Alisson's form dipped. He was learning a couple of goals. Now I'm actually remember.
Yeah. I remember now because I
Yeah,
think
it
they
was having a
also
bad season.
because they got smacked by Man City in the league around
Yeah.
that time too as well. Yeah. So, yeah, and then obviously the season after was pretty much 18-19 part 2
Mm-hmm.
where Liverpool and Man City just kind of both um were just trading like when actually I didn't realize that they drew in one of their last 5 matches. That's unfortunate.
Mm.
I wonder what happened in this game. I'm actually curious now. Do you remember this game, NK?
I don't remember this game.
Because drawing 1-1 in a title match against Man City.
I should remember. I don't.
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm gonna have to look back on this game. Just to see what kind of happened. Obviously, you see here, Son scored first. Diaz equalized.
Was that possibly? I want to say the Diaz score deflection, but I don't know.
I think this one. I think this was after Mourinho was fired, right? No, this was under Conte. Interesting. I don't remember this game. I'm going to look back on this game. I don't remember this game. Also, I know we're not talking about them anymore, but speaking of this season too, and everyone always likes to talk about this Aston Villa game, right, or whatever that Man City we won the league on. This freaking West Ham game right here, man. People don't know about this game, NK. West Ham were up 2-0 at halftime. NK, I was getting ready to clown the shit out of my Man City friend, man. I was getting ready. It was up. And then all of a sudden I look and I see oh nah, Pep, you really did it, man. Oh my goodness. Like it's crazy. People forget about this game, NK.
Yeah, man. Nah, that's just what City do. They were they talk about the Villa game where the City were 2-0 down.
Yeah, but I'm saying even they were playing West Ham the week before that.
Yeah.
And they were also 2-0 down.
Yeah.
And then they somehow just drew the game, and that was what was able to put them in position to. Nah, that's crazy. I'm actually so sick of this club, man. Like, and I mean that with all due respect. Like, I'm so sick of Pep and these light blue bastards, man. But, yeah. So obviously that season happened, and then last season they were injured again, and they just didn't really do anything. And then, funny enough, so basically this current season, Klopp's last season, was basically a mixture of the good Liverpool from 1920 and 21-22, and then kind of fell off to the mismanaging of Liverpool in the seasons after that. So it was literally like kind of half of both, where Liverpool were showing that consistency of and championship form until around March or whatever, where like they just got injured and they just fell off. But the thing I also found interesting about Liverpool, NK, and I don't know if you remember this, but even back in October, November, I didn't even think they would make it as far as they did, because I remember they were like winning games off of just pure chaotic vibes, and I didn't think it would last that long anyway.
Nah, just this league, man.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. Shout out to Jurgen Klopp.
Great time at Liverpool. Great coach.
If you want another Prem job, I hear Chelsea's hiring or whatever.
Eesh, I would love that, man.
But yeah, Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lump these next 5 clubs together. And I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound salty.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Aston Villa are that good.
Nope.
I and I know I'm going to look like a front runner for saying this because they haven't won the last 4 matches, but what really convinced me that they weren't that good was that Olympiacos tie and the fact that all Chelsea had to do to just not lose to them was invert a fullback, and all of a sudden Aston Villa looked like they couldn't do dog crap.
Yeah.
Against a Chelsea team that wasn't even hadn't even up until that point hadn't even been good for like 90% of the season up to that point.
Mm.
So, and I'm pretty sure didn't Tottenham destroy them one game too?
They did.
So, honestly, if you're the sporting director at Aston Villa, do you take this season as a fluke and kind of, or do you try to see if you can consolidate a top 4 into being a top 4? It should be 4-0 home to Tottenham only 2 months ago. That's a disgrace. But whether I think they're good enough or not, that good or not, they did finish top 4, so we do have to respect that, I guess. What do you think Aston Villa should go from here? Do you think they should try to build upon that? Do you think they should just try to consolidate with the squad that they have? What do you think, Ken?
I respect Aston Villa's ambition, right? I think they should build upon that. I don't think they're as good as well, let me not say that. I think they've had a great season, right? They've also had a great season, but I think they've punched above their weight. So I think they need to go retool, get I don't know where I'd look to for Aston Villa, but get a few more players in.
So because this is even like looking at their top scorer list. Like, do you see Ollie Watkins replicating another 32 goals and assists season next year?
I don't think the assist numbers will be high, but in terms of his goal record, his goal record, I don't know if you could pull that up. His goal record.
Yeah, I have it. 19 goals, 17 x. Yep, 17 xG. What are you gonna say?
If you look at his goal history in terms of his past seasons, the guy could give you gives you goals.
Yes, I'm looking here. 14 goals in the Prem in 2021. 11 and 2 years ago. 15 goals last year, and obviously 19 this year. So yeah, fair enough. That's not those aren't far off.
I don't even know where I look for Aston Villa to improve, but I'm just saying they should improve, basically. I think
fair, like, because I'm always a sucker for team stats, because I feel like team stats always tell you what you need to know, like how to really contextualize teams. So if you look at Aston Villa, right? So, right, 6th in terms of goals scored per match, 7th best, defense in the league. So this would indicate 7th in terms of expected goals. Only 8 clean sheets in the league. So, like, basically, this indicates that for as well as they've played, they're not really a top 4 team. Like, only 10th in terms of big chances created, only 9th for shots, 8th for passes, 7th in terms of possession. So, like, it's so weird. So, like, none of their metrics are like technically of like top 4 quality. And again, this is not me trying to hate. Like, this is just like what the data is telling me, So, I don't know. So, like, do you think, like, if they try to build upon it, that they could actually finish top 4 again? Just kind of given all the metrics that I've kind of laid out here.
I don't think they'll finish top 4. I don't think they'll finish top 4. That's no disrespect to them, but I just think that the other teams are going to get better. They've punched it, but I'm even remembering. I remember when United. Got
Yeah,
got
they
some,
smacked them. Yeah, I remember that. I know what game you're talking about. Like, they were up like 2-0 or whatever, and then Marina just rallied and ended up winning. Because even if when I look at the table by like expected points or whatever, they finished 12 points above their expected points. And I know obviously not everybody is a stat merchant, and I can respect that to a degree. But when the numbers like are so like flagrantly like what's it called? Offshoot, I think that's something to take note of, you know what I mean? Because given because just kind of given all the metrics that I've laid out, and especially given like their end of season form, Chelsea's end of season form, Spurs' end of season form, not Newcastle and Man United as well. Yeah, I don't see them being a top 4 club next year either. And the last thing that really like kind of brought it home to me, I alluded to this in the group chat as well, is Chelsea have been awful for what 85% of the season.
Yep.
Like truly dog water, horrendously terrible. And yet Aston Villa are only 5 points ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like that's and like yeah, like and I only see this Chelsea team getting better. Like this and this Aston Villa team, like you said as well, just punched above their weight in terms of what their actual ability, what their players are actually capable of. So, yeah, this is a long-winded way of saying I don't think they're actually that good. But moving on then.
But fair play to them, though. But fair play.
Yeah. Fair play to them for doing it. Like, to be fair, last thing I'll say on them is, like, do you know like the Premier League team I used to like a lot? That I'm just kind of, it's unfortunate for them that they weren't able to do what Aston Villa did.
What team?
Leicester. 2 years in a row they bottled top 4.
Yeah,
like that's genuinely insane as well. Like okay, look at this, winning one of their last 5 games to finish 5th.
Leicester, man.
And they did it 2 years in a row, NK.
It's crazy.
But I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, I don't see them. I see them honestly. I really don't want to sound like a hater. I don't see them even finishing like top 7 next year. I see them being in and around. I see them being in and around where West Ham, Man United are right now. Like I'm like NK. I don't see them being able to juggle UCL and being able to even try to replicate what they did this year. And that's no hate against Emery or Aston Villa or whatever. I just don't think they're up to snuff of that level. And honestly, speaking of UCLs, okay, we need to stop these Fugazi teams from getting to the Champions League, man. Because now that coefficients are actually up for grabs, for UCL spots, like you can't. Like, I'm sorry, the only reason the Premier League didn't get that 5th spot this year is because freaking bum ass Newcastle and bum ass Man United were somehow in it. We're somehow in the groups.
I can't believe what United and Onana was doing, man. I can't believe it.
Like that was actually disgraceful. Like Newcastle, they choked at the end, obviously with that PSG game, and the ref screwed them over or whatever. But that Man United one was truly a utter disgrace, and they should be ashamed of it. They should be arrested. If I was the Premier League, I would have banned them from Champions League competition for the next like 5 years for what they did, to be honest. But yeah, that's enough about Aston Villa. Tottenham Hotspurs, Big Ange. Tottenham was another team that kind of weren't really expected to do much, right? Because they finished 8th last year, I want to say. Finished on 60 points last year. This year they got 66 points. So you're looking at a 6-point improvement. In terms of like goals and goals conceded, 70 and 63 last year, as compared to 74 and 61 this year. So the more things change, the more they stay the same, I guess. They got rid of Harry Kane. Well, I won't say got rid of Harry, more like Harry Kane got rid of them and he left. And they were able to at least maintain and somewhat improve upon the levels they were last year. So what do you do now if you're Daniel Levy with Tottenham? What is kind of what does it look like for them?
You improved the squad. I don't like that Spurs attack at all. I think it's stale. I think Son is on the decline. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's declining. Kulusevski, I mean, he scored today, so fair play to him. Because I thought maybe, just maybe. I mean, I was hoping Sheffield could do us a favor, but he
Yeah, I was
scored
hoping
today.
for that.
But nah, man, Spurs. I want to give credit to Ange. I think obviously he started the season off well, then injury sort of punctured what could have been a top four finish. But that team, that Spurs team needs a lot of work. They need more players. You know,
I think
if you
James
could,
Madison was also like because he missed a decent amount of the season. I think he was definitely a big miss for them as well. Because
yeah,
I'm a big fan of James Madison when he was at Leicester as well. So
I love Madison. I love Madison. I know people are hard on Madison in terms of his end of season form, which is fair. But nah, I think he's good. I just think Spurs need more. I think their first 11 is pretty good, apart from a few players. But and then if a few injuries happen, for example, to be fair, Ange should have probably ran Van der Ven left back instead of Ben Davies, right? But that, for example, is a problem. Emerson Royale is not a professional footballer. That's the issue. I'm not a Richarlison fan whatsoever.
to
I've
be fair,
seen
he actually has been decent this
he's been decent when called upon, but like fundamentally, I'm not a fan. But no, in terms of when he's been called, I remember there was a spell. I want to say January. I could be wrong, but there was a time when he was actually stepping up. So fair
year.
play to him.
Yeah. Hold on, I think I can. I'm trying to see if I can know what you're referring to because he scored 2 goals in December. He scored. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. He scored 2 goals, then a goal, 1 goal, another goal. So he scored 5 goals in December. He scored another. Yeah, honestly, yeah, mainly it's mainly carried by his form in December. Ended up scoring 5 goals in like 4 matches in December.
That was December. Yeah. So I mean, I've seen Timo Werner at my club. So I mean, I just think that attack needs a lot of work. It needs a lot. If I'm Ange, I'm asking for four. I'm asking for 4 key players.
Do you have? Would you okay? Would you get Would you focus more on getting another winger or getting another striker specifically for the attack?
I'd go for a winger. I think they're missing a technical winger that could beat his man.
So
That could.
like an Elise.
Um. Actually, yeah. If I'm Spurs, I'll take Elise. I wasn't really thinking his profile, but I would take Elise 100%. Um. Like if I was Spurs, definitely. I'd even take both. If I'm Spurs, I'm asking for. I mean, it's not gonna happen, right? But if I was Spurs, I'm asking for Eze and Elise.
Honestly, I think Spurs need. I would go a little bit different on the profile. I would go for like a goal scoring winger.
Mm.
So someone in the mold of like a Jared Bowen. Because I think Spurs' issue is I think Spurs have enough creativity.
You do?
No, I think they do. Between like if Madison plays, like even though I called this dude a pace merchant in Sun, the dude still got 10 assists. What's it called? Kulusevski is somewhat creative, but I just think their issues they don't have a. Oh wow, Brendan Johnson got 10 assists. Jesus. Anyway,
wait, whoa, 1 minute. He got 10 assists in the league, or
yeah, 10 assists in the league. What the? Hold on, let me.
are you?
Wait, why is it showing me this? This is not what I need. Hold on. Is there a way for me to change this?
He's
Sorry.
got 10 assists in the Premier League this season.
Okay, so I'm not tripping. Yeah, he does.
Oh God. Listen.
That's actually hilarious.
Listen. Let me tell you something.
Oh wow, his birthday is a day before mine too. Wow, that's crazy.
Yo, bro. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I don't want to rain on Brennan Johnson's parade. I didn't know you had 10 assists, so fair play to you. That guy isn't good. That Brennan, nah, Brennan Johnson, bro. Like, I just think Spurs need a dynamic. Okay, maybe goal scoring, maybe but I think they need a dynamic winger. You know, some like an actual full-fledged winger, if that makes sense. Like someone that could beat his. Like I don't think they have anyone that could beat their man reliably. I
can actually check for you right now. Hold on. Well, first off, on the Johnson thing, if it makes you feel any better, NK, his expected this is like 4.5. So he's not. So basically, he should not be getting 10 again next year, or even touching that. In terms of dribbling, so Johnson, Jesus Christ, one successful dribble for a winger is on 39% dribble successes.
Bro, you see what I mean, man?
Yeah, it's not good. Let's see, because Kulusevski doesn't really dribble that much either. From what I've watched.
I don't know about, bro. What someone that like he is someone that I literally don't know.
Like
I don't know.
He has very good creative numbers. Like I mean, because how many dribbles should a top level winger be realistically completing in a match? Like what, like 2? Like, you know what I mean? Like out of the top end, because obviously it also depends on archetype as well.
Yeah, what's your profile, right? But
because basically from what I'm seeing of Kluivert, he basically is like a less goal scoring version of what's his face, Palmer.
Because I've heard people say they'd rather, because I have one friend that's a Tottenham fan, right? But he's pessimistic. He's the club's betrayed him. So he's saying that he'd want Kulusevski to be a backup midfielder. That's where his head's at with Kulusevski at this point in time. He's completely done with Kulusevski, and would want him to be a backup midfielder. And I was like, I don't watch Tottenham a lot, to be fair, so I don't know. I don't know about Kulu, man. I really don't, SK. I don't know what he is. I don't.
But yeah, okay. I'm looking right now. Out of their front three, none of them complete over 2 dribbles.
Bro, it's stale. It's stale. The attack's stale. The attacks. They need. In my opinion, they need some dynamism. They need some.
Because usually, to be fair, they usually get it from Sarr and in the midfield. Who's the other midfielder? Yeah. They usually get their dynamism from those two. But obviously, is that really going to be enough? Especially since neither one of those are truly creative players like that.
Nah. And Basuma's form dropped off towards the end of the season. They need a more. It's promising though. I'll give Ange that. It's a promising first season, but they need more.
And I guess just kind of looking at where they stack up against other teams, just in in certain metrics. So 7th for goals scored, right? They're 6th for expected goals. They average 2nd most possession in the league. 12th in terms of clean sheets, which obviously not good enough. So that's below average. 5th for shots per match, 6th for big chances created, 3rd for passes. So I guess 4th for touches in the opposition box. So basically they get a lot of territory but they can't really cut the mustard, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that would probably be a lot. Oh wow, third for possession, one in the final third. So they press really high. But to your point, right? I think this specific stat right here, combined with only being only having like be only sixth for expected goals, will kind of like indicate to your point about them not having enough dynamism in attack to really take advantage of the territory that they gain usually in matches.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see what you're saying about them needing like a more adept dribbler to really what's it called, penetrate for them.
Yeah.
No Diddy, of course. But I do like your assessment of them. I would say that the biggest thing for Tottenham is they definitely need at least a third player that can get double digits in goals. So they have obviously Heung-min Son and Richarlison with 17 and 11 respectively, and then Kulusevski with 8, and then after that it's literally just a fall off. After that, the most that they get is 5. Like, you're definitely gonna need more. They're definitely gonna need more than that if they really want to build upon the season that they've had this year and into doing something more substantial. And I think the funniest thing about Tottenham too is, like, if you look right here, NK, 4 matches lost in a row. Concede 4 to Newcastle, concede 3 to Arsenal, lose to Chelsea, concede 4 to Liverpool. So, so obviously this kind of really indicates that they're maybe are not of the level that they need to be a top 4 challenging team or anything beyond that. And I guess just kind of looking over how they started the season, to your point. Hold on, I'm going back a little bit too far. So they started off with a draw, but then they won their next 4 games in a row. Another draw to Arsenal away, which obviously Arsenal finished second, which away to Arsenal. So a draw away to Arsenal is not bad. Beat Liverpool 2-1. So at this point, we're looking at 6 wins, 2 draws, right? So obviously that's a indicative of a good season. Then they win their next 3 games in a row after that. So we're looking at 9 wins and 2 draws in their first 11 matches. And then obviously they have that L to Chelsea, and then from there it just kind of snowballs. They lose their next 2, draw to Man City. I don't remember this game at all, actually. What the hell?
Wait, which game? The City game?
Yeah, I don't remember this game.
That was the one where, the ref blew when Jack Grealish was through in on goal, and the ref blew to end for a foul.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. I remember. So they essentially went winless in their next 5.
Yeah.
And then they win their next 3, concede 4 to Brighton, win their next 2.
Oh, Abdul was in here.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I see him.
Is he still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Abdul, what's up, bro?
Abdul, how are you? Guys, sorry. I just tapped in.
My apologies.
Yo, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, sorry. I'm not Abdullah, so I tend to like scroll through tabs sometimes. So I don't like I sometimes will see if you're in the background, so I apologize about that.
Okay, no worries, man. I've been looking for your YouTube page because I wanted to see maybe you guys were live or not.
Yeah. So yeah, we were.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, my YouTube page is just SKFC. It's literally just my name.
All right, because I can't really find it. Anyway, it was just because I was looking for every means to alert you that I'm backstage.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming in. Okay, good catch, by the way.
No worries, man. I look out for my uncle still, so it's
Look at your uncle.
Yo, that's crazy. All right, right now we're just we're basically just kind of going down the table and just kind of like talking about.
It's lucky. Right to Chelsea soon, but yeah,
we're really about to get to Chelsea. So we've talked about Man City, we've talked about Arsenal, we've talked about Liverpool, Aston Villa. We're talking about
Okay.
Tottenham right now, and then we're gonna get to Chelsea after that. So,
Okay. No worries,
so
man.
yeah, so after we're done with Tottenham, you can kind of just give me like a quick summary of your thoughts and kind of like the top 4 teams, right? Top 5 teams, I guess, and then we can talk to Chelsea after that.
Yeah,
Talk
no
about
worries. Yeah.
But yeah, so basically how I would describe Tottenham's season, NK, is schizophrenic as all hell. Because they basically were consistent throughout and then just had 2 specific spells where they didn't win for like 5 games, and that's kind of what put them in the position that they're in right now. So I guess if you're Tottenham or Big Ange specifically, the way they can really improve upon is beating the teams that they're supposed to be not supposed to be beating, but beating the teams in and around them. Because you can't be conceding 4 goals to Newcastle, 3 goals to Arsenal, losing to Chelsea, conceding 4 to Liverpool, and then think you're about to be a consistent top 4 team. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd agree. Not Ange isn't perfect. I'm not gonna say that. I don't think. I think they could do with an improvement on players, but even his setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many games where it's just one pass. All it is one pass over the top, and a team's through or players through. I remember, I think it was against Wolves this season when Spurs were 1-0 up, maybe, and Wolves scored like 2 goals in the dying like in additional time.
I think I
And
know what game you're talking about, and they were both like just counterattacks, like exactly the same way.
Yeah. Oh no, I think Sarabia scored late. That's what it was. But yeah, it was. I think it's a promising first season. I think they need to invest, but Daniel Levy, that's the issue. And then they'll see where they go from there. But I think they'll also be challenging for top 4 again next year. So.
Okay. Do you see them in terms of point style? Do you see them doing better or worse than they've done this year or last year? So do you see them finishing around like mid to low 60s, or
I see that again, I see it's gonna be another year of mid to low 60s,
All right, Abdul Alga, talk to us about the top 5. What's your thoughts on the top 5 clubs in our supposedly?
Right. So the top 5 are City, Arsenal, Liverpool, expected to be in the top 5 at the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Aston Villa and Tottenham. Now, the first thing I want to mention is because I've been listening to some Arsenal stream
Yeah.
and their disappointment and their madness is I don't know who I was discussing this with, maybe Nana and Abdullah. And the past 2 seasons, Arsenal have had total points of 80 plus. So and that is quite impressive that they will go 80 plus in 2 consecutive seasons and they wouldn't win the league in any of those 2 seasons.
Eesh.
So that's only, you can only be competing against a Pep and a Man City for you not to have attained for you not to have won a title in any of those 2 seasons.
And you know what's funny, Abdul? Because sorry to cut you off a little bit. Me and NK were discussing this. There was a specific. We were talking about kind of what lost Arsenal the league, right? And because I know people like to point to this Aston Villa game right here, but the time period that me and NK really fell upon that we thought what lost in the league was specifically. You see the screen, right?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Yeah, well, specifically this December period right here. Right, they lost to Aston Villa. Drew with Liverpool, which fair result at the time. Losing to West Ham at home and then losing to Fulham on the last day of 2023. Like, it's actually crazy because if they had just bettered any of these results right here, they probably would have won the league.
So are we saying you have to be perfect to win the league, especially when you're competing against Pep?
Um,
You see that's where I'm getting at, because it's very rare for you to go 2 seasons 80 points plus and not at least to win one of the season.
well, because
So
this is what I would say, right? To your question about, I don't think you have to be perfect. Because if I wouldn't say you have to be perfect, right? Because right at the same time, this club won. I think they won 17 games in 2024, something like that in the Premier League. So, like, if I was gonna be like petty, I would be like, I would have pointed to that second Aston Villa loss that they suffered about a month ago. But obviously,
yeah.
right, like you're not gonna win every game for 18 games straight. I don't expect that from them. So it's more so the fact that they went through a spell where they only won 1 in 5 Premier League games. That specifically, I think, is what cost them the league. Because right, obviously, like one win out of 5 games, 4 points out of 15, is
Yeah,
11
yeah.
points
I
dropped.
mean, I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like shift away Arsenal fans from that perspective,
Mhm.
because a lot of them are blaming themselves to losing the league again.
Nah, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I would. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far. I definitely wouldn't go as far as that, because I even seen some Arsenal fans that are trying to say they should get rid of Arteta, and I'm like, are you crazy? Like,
Exactly, and you know what? Since the Premier League have started in the early 90s, they've only had 80 or 80 plus points only on 4 occasions, and that was done by Arsene Wenger.
yeah,
Only since early 90s till now, they've only done that like only 4 times under Arsene Wenger. Okay, and Arsene Wenger was there for like, is it 20 years?
Yeah, close to it.
yeah, he was supposed to. Yeah,
Exactly, and even him was able to only do it on 4 occasions, and one of the occasions was when they went through the season unbeaten. So you can see how difficult it is.
Mm.
Only Arsene Wenger has done it, and this guy has done it. And I don't even think Arsene Wenger did it like 2 seasons consecutively at any
Nah, he
point.
never did it.
because
You know what I mean?
even the Invincibles, the Arsenal fans love. They only finished. The Invincibles only had one more point than this current Arsenal team right
Yeah,
this year.
yeah. No, actually, they did it 2 consecutive seasons. The following season, they did it, but
Oh, they didn't
Jose
win.
beat them. They
Yeah.
didn't win. Jose beat them to the title then. So they
Mhm.
only did it once. Okay, in the 4 times I said that did it, he only did it once, where he did it two seasons. Yeah. And then another thing is, if you put this Arsenal team on paper, to me they don't look impressive.
Okay,
To me, I'll still have.
I even pull up the squad for you. So this was the last starting 11 for today. I'll just pull up the squad in general. Like, I'll be-
You don't think they didn't look impressive after to you?
No. What I mean is, I would still have, apart from maybe their central defense,
Mhm.
I will still have my Chelsea players ahead of them.
Yeah,
All of
we'll get. I think we're getting to Chelsea soon. Abdul, you'll be surprised at the amount of Arsenal players I wouldn't select in this Chelsea team. Honestly.
you know what I mean. So that's
I
my
get it.
that's my second take. I'll still have a lot of my Chelsea players ahead of them, if I'm going to be honest. Okay, their centre back pairing, those guys are impressive. You have to give it to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, if you look at it, I mean, if you take this if you take this team to Europe, nobody recognizes them.
Yeesh.
Like if you show a football fan in maybe Spain and say, "Oh, look at this set of players," they might not even recognize the club they come from.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And another warning, another thing I want to mention is, and this is actually some kind of warning, that sometimes you have to be careful of like what you add and what you take away from a team, because in instances where you think you're there, you might actually, and um, you want to construct the team, you might actually be taking out the wrong piece and maybe be adding the wrong piece. Because the last season we were saying that if we were saying on the stream that if only they had a striker, then they would have won the league last season. Like if they had like an Osimhen, we used to say then that they might have won the league last season. Okay, coming to this season, what would happen? I don't think they got a striker.
No, they didn't.
And they
They didn't get a
scored
striker.
91, and they scored 91 goals.
And they scored 91 goals. But then what happened? They took out Zaka. Okay, which should be, to me, that's one of the most important pieces from last season. You took away Zaka. What happened? Zaka went to Germany and won the league. Okay, and if you look at it this season, Zaka plus Declan Rice is nothing comparable to Declan Rice and Jorginho or Declan Rice and Partey.
But the thing I'd also keep in mind, Abdul, is if they had kept Xhaka, they probably wouldn't have gotten Havertz as well. So do you think that would have mattered for
They
them?
didn't need Havertz. I'm talking about what might have changed them fundamentally.
Oh yeah. I just want to see where your head was at with that, because I at least think they definitely don't get Havertz if they keep Xhaka. But I just want to know, what you think that would mean for them.
No, but look at it this way. What's the benefit of Havertz to them? Havertz is not the reason why they had 8. To me, Havertz is not the reason why they had 80 points this season or they were competing this season. Okay. And I will not compare a midfield of Zaka plus Declan Rice to Jorginho and Declan Rice, or maybe Zaka and Partey. I wouldn't compare that kind of midfield to Partey and Declan Rice. Zaka is obviously a more important and fundamental piece of the puzzle. Why did you remove him? Okay, and why didn't you bring in a more deadly center forward? Even if it's not a pure out and out striker, somebody who could accumulate as many goals. Because if you look at that time where you say they were like
They were the December.
Where they had a poor patch.
Uh-huh.
1 or 2 goals might have made a difference for them if they had like an out and out deadly striker.
Yeah, because even the XG in the West Ham game that they lost was like 2.77, and they couldn't find a goal.
Exactly. So this is also my warning to some of these Chelsea fans who think we should get rid of half of the team and construct a new team with half new players again. That you have to be careful to which piece you remove and which piece you add when you're constructing the team. Because to me, allowing Zaka to leave and not bringing in a deadly striker might have cost them a game. Overall, it might not have cost them because they still accumulated 80-something points.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of winning the title, it might have been significant.
Okay, so because I want you to get to the other 3 teams.
Yeah. So I mean,
I was gonna say next question for you, Abdul, about Arsenal. This is the last thing about Arsenal, and we can move on to Liverpool. Because I asked NK this earlier. If you were the sporting director of Arsenal, given everything that's happened this year, what do you what's your plan for next season? Like what do you think what would you do in the summer?
What I would do this summer is what I would have done last summer. get a high goal scoring center forward. Okay, maybe you don't want like a kind of pivot kind of striker, but at least get a center forward.
Yeah, because me and NK we were looking at strikers that we think they should go for, and the one that me and NK kind of agreed on outside of Osimhen, like if they couldn't get Osimhen for money reasons or whatever, was Isak from Newcastle.
Yeah, but what do you think about that guy, that Porto striker?
Gyökeres? Are you talking about the sporting one?
Yeah.
Abdul, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched him at all, so I don't have an opinion on him at the moment.
I think that guy would slot in perfectly into an Arsenal squad because he has a different profile. He's tall, he's strong, he's powerful. He's mobile, so he can do link-up play a lot.
But I think
and he prefers to hold the ball. Like,
sorry, I would say only because since like I said, I haven't watched him enough, so I can't really. So I'm not really gonna challenge you on how good he is or not because I don't know. But I feel like Isak, he has a lot of those same attributes as well. No, or would it be? Do you think that would be like?
SK, this is the question. How many goals do you think this guy I'm talking about scored last season? This season that they've just ended, that they've just won the league. 41 goals.
Oh wow.
41 goals. This is what I believe Arsenal should be going for in their next move. I mean, imagine them having a 41 goal, center forward striker, and his link-up play is good. He always wants ball to feet us, as a player.
Let me look up this guy. Actually,
No,
he said
Lisbon, Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah, he plays for Sporting.
Yeah, that's him.
29.
Gyökeres.
43 goals this season. Oh, my effing goodness. 5 in Europa League. 29 goals, 10 assists, 68 dribbles in 2 dribbles for a striker. That's a lot. That's pretty good. I can't lie. Don't worry, Abdul. Don't worry. I'll watch some tape on him and I'll give you my report back on him later. But continue.
He will fit in. Although if we are supposed to get a striker, okay, and I'm being selfish, I will actually want him, but I don't know, maybe his age profile is the profile we're looking for now because he's 25. So he's the perfect age. And this guy's played in the championship before. How ready can he be for a Premier League team?
Oh wow, so he came from Coventry City.
Yeah, he was at Brighton. He was outdoor. It was funny. He was at Brighton signed him.
He couldn't make it to Brighton for whatever reason.
Yeah, Brighton signed him.
How the hell did he go from Coventry City to Sporting Lisbon? That's what I want to know.
Yeah,
but the thing is, if you want to make that argument, you can say, how did Jude Bellingham go from Birmingham to Real Madrid?
Oh no, I'm not even saying. Oh no, I'm not even saying that.
He's not saying that's a negative, but yeah.
I'm just saying for argument purpose.
Yeah.
Because some people are listening to some stream, and it's like, oh, that's the only stain. But how did Bellingham go from Birmingham to Real Madrid?
Well, to be fair, it'd be more so. How did he go from Birmingham to what's it called, Dortmund?
Birmingham to Dortmund.
Yeah, even that's also because even that's still a big jump in
huge.
Exactly.
At that age,
thank you very much. At that age.
Yeah, that's true, because even when I first saw that Dortmund were getting him back in I think it was 2020 or whatever, I didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, another random.
Nah, he was special. But
so he already had the hype at Birmingham too. Like people were already.
Yeah, no, he was hyped. To be fair, it's not like this, right? But I'll say people knew who he was. Definitely, I knew who he was when he was at Birmingham.
No. I knew who he was when he was in Birmingham before he even went to. I thought he was going to go to a big team in the Premier League.
Yeah, I thought United were looking at him for a while.
Everybody was looking at him.
Chelsea everyone was looking at him.
But I was thinking maybe he would end up maybe in an Arsenal or maybe in a West Ham, because he was coming from the Championship and he was 18 or something like that. So I was thinking about maybe you end up in a West Ham or maybe best case scenario, maybe in an Arsenal or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say about Arsenal is if they don't go for a striker like that, then they're playing. Okay. Because next season it might be more competitive than this next season. It might not just be them and City.
Don't worry. Save those next season talks for later.
So
Aston Villa. Next is Liverpool Aston Villa. What do you have to say about those?
Okay. So for Liverpool, to be honest, they've actually finished where I was expecting them to end the season. I was expecting them in some kind of top 3, top 4 to end the season.
But to be fair though, it wasn't, even though obviously they fell off towards the end. It wasn't like they were stuck in any kind of top 4 challenge.
No. You can't accumulate 80 points and you not give them credit.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. No, I agree. Because
Yeah.
I was telling NK this, like, I remember at the beginning of the season, people did not, anticipate them even being in the title race for as long as they were in the first place.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't even paying attention to them as well. I just thought, or rather, I paid more attention to Arsenal than to Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as I keep saying to people, is you see the tripod of Salah, Mane, and Firmino. I'm saying it's very rare. You are lucky if you are able to have players of that caliber in their peak at the same time in any team. That team will do well. And it seems to me that's when um, Mane and Firmino left, I said we're going to have problems. Okay, their level will drop, and that's what happened. People really did not know what those three brought to the table. Okay, and they were the main drivers of Liverpool for all them seasons that were really, really successful and dominating. So more or less, Liverpool finished where I was expecting them to finish, and I believe that's actually the club factor that made them end the season as number three. And
But you see them.
they will find it difficult to carry that team to where they ought to be without those three players. We can say without those three players now because I don't think Salah will give us much next season. Or I don't
I,
think he will give us something exceptional that he hasn't given us before next season.
Bill,
Despite the fact,
where do you see where do you see Liverpool finishing next year? Do you see them still being in a title race? Do you see them being in a top four race, finishing top four comfortably, or being in a top six race, like with their new manager?
I think we'll return to the Liverpool we know next season.
Oh wow!
You
So
know,
like,
you know the Liverpool, you know the Liverpool we know. The Liverpool we
the
know, it is the Liverpool of Gerard Houllier. Is the Liverpool of when Suarez was there. Is the
Mhm.
Liverpool of Fernando Torres. Is the
So being like
Liverpool
a top four to top six ish team, right? Being in
that,
and
that
around.
kind of yeah, they will have parties, they will go on runs, everybody will hype them, they will overrate them, they will overblow them, their fans will be hyped, they'll make a bit of noise here and there, but at the end of the
Uh,
day they're not going to threaten to win the league.
and then
That's the
do you see them? Do you see them keeping some of their older key players like Allison, Van Dijk, Robertson, Salah? Do you see them keeping them a hold of them now that Klopp is gone? And I know, especially like Salah. I know the Saudi Arabia was trying to get him last year. So like, what? How do you think their squad's gonna look like? Do you think they're gonna keep some of their more key players?
but if you notice now,
Mm-hmm.
um, the, the the league is getting more and more competitive in
Yeah.
terms of there is more supply of players than there's demand for players. So if you're not careful, it's going to be difficult to push out the old players because they have nice contracts that they might not get somewhere else, and you can't really sell them for like huge amount of funds. So someone like Salah, I believe, if he wants to stay for one more season, I think next season is his last season.
Yeah.
I think you can accommodate that because he's still going to score you over 20 goals. No matter how you want to dice it or slice it, he's still going to score you over 20 goals. Uh, for other more mature players like the Allisons, the Van Dijk, those guys, you're not going to easily push them out because they're sitting on fat contracts.
So
Just
if you were Michael Edwards and Saudi Arabia comes in for like a similar 9-figure transfer offer for Salah, do you take that, or do you try to see if you can push on with him in your squad?
you see that's what I mean by some of these mature players. Do the players want to go? Because if the players don't want to go, there's no way you can move them these days,
Yeah.
especially when they are above 28. Okay. Younger players, you could still, okay, negotiate with them and say, yeah, we got a good offer. Okay, we'll let you go. You can still negotiate. You still have leverage. But for players over 28, with the volume of young players that are coming in, and with the mindset of some big clubs like Real Madrid and Chelsea, where they're going for like really younger players, where are you going to go if you're 28 and you're in Liverpool and you have a fat contract? Where you can go? Okay, you might find other clubs might want you, but are they going to offer you what you're currently earning at Liverpool? So it's going to be like really, really difficult. The only thing is, okay, looking at this team, okay, it's more or less like the end of club is the same thing as the end of an era for the team.
Hmm.
So there is no way you want to slice or dice it. Liverpool has to rebuild and they have to build a new team. Okay, can they do it Chelsea? Obviously not. Chelsea is the only team that can sell the entire deconstruct the entire team and reconstruct another team in like two windows, 3 windows. Okay, in as much as Liverpool fans will want to do that, I'm sorry, they will not do that. Their owners will not do that. And they're not going to do that. And that's not going to happen. So they're going to go through some kind of gradual reconstruction of
Okay.
the team. And that'll be
Um,
based on the ideas by, their so-called, what do you call them, structure or whatever, and their
the
new manager.
like the
So,
Michael Edwards guy, like, and his daughter.
yeah, yeah. And how good are these guys in constructing a new team? But
Mhm.
the main question might not be how good are they, but how long is it going to take them and how patient are people like their fans? Because they can't do their Chelsea in as much as they can abuse and insult us and say, oh, you spend a billion.
Abdul, save all the Chelsea talk. Don't worry. We'll get to that club in
No,
a
no, no,
second.
no, no. What I'm trying to say is like they cannot do it over like um, a short term.
Hmm.
They cannot reconstruct a new team in very few windows, like 1 or 2 windows. They cannot do that.
Okay.
So
So
going
Abdul,
forward,
moving
I'm
on
afraid
to
we might have a problem.
Abdul, moving on to Aston Villa and Tottenham. I'm gonna lump these two in together. So just give me a quick brief assessment of these two and what do you project them doing next season, if anything?
Yeah. So to me, Aston Villa, Eddie Emery should actually win Manager of the Season because what he's done at Aston Villa. Don't forget, Aston Villa were in the Championship maybe like a few seasons ago,
Yeah,
and look
when
at
they
them
had
now. And look at them now. They're like top four, and this is the work of Ida Emery. Okay, but then compare this Ida Emery to the Ida Emery that had so much negativity at Arsenal. So it brings me to my point that sometimes when your face don't fit into what people want, they will just generate negativity for you just because they don't like you. It's got nothing to do with your work or body of work. And that's what Emery has just like demonstrated now. So this should actually be the team of the season, and their manager should be a manager of the season, in my own
Um,
opinion.
and then last thing about Aston Villa, do you see them being able to like replicate what they did this year? Do you see them
No,
kind of falling
no,
off
no,
to?
no. They can't. They can't replicate what they've done this season, next season, except they have um, injection of
Okay, and
like
then
a lot
follow up
of
to
new
that.
players.
Yeah, follow up to that. If you were in charge of Aston Villa, would you try to consolidate being a top four team? Would you even attempt to try to do that, or would you just take the Champions League money and then just try to kind of keep the club finances in the green and just um look at this one season as kind of an anomaly and then try.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Um, no, I'll just try and maintain a top six status. That
Okay,
would be my ambition next season.
because
Although I heard they have a wealthy owner
yeah,
and
they
is
do.
ambitious.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, and is ambitious as well, and they have very good manager. Okay, But I will still look at next season as a season where our target should just be top 6.
And then I guess the last thing for Aston Villa. What do you think they should be aiming to do in the summer? Because now they're gonna have to, because even if they want to finish top 6, right? Like if you look at the league table as it stands, even bum ass Man United, for as trash as they are, they got 60 points and finished 8th. So that means that Aston Villa are gonna have to at least win half of all of their games.
So if I'm in control,
Yeah. So
of
like
Aston Villa's
what would you do in the summer to try to balance trying to get
Yeah.
at least minimum 60 points and trying to manage a Champions League campaign? Like what, like do you think they
Yeah,
need to,
so
how do you think they need to manage trying to do all that with the money that they have?
what I'll do if I'm in charge of the football next season is I will increase player volume. So I'll go for numbers. I will increase the numbers, the number of the players we have. And what I mean by that is obviously bringing more players that can compete with the current squad. That will bring competition to the current squad. So I'll go into certain European markets and I'll go get like maybe like 4 or 5 quality players and add to the current squad. So I will not make a mistake of what a team like Leicester did. When Leicester won the league
Yeah.
and they only added the following season, they only added like 2 players. Nah, I wouldn't do that. I'll go into the European market. I'll bring like 4 players. 4 players that I know are at the level of the players we currently have that can compete. So I'll go for a larger squad,
Okay.
and then I'll
And
target
what
like
about,
a top 6 again.
okay. And then what are your thoughts on Tottenham and Big Ange and what they've done this year?
I think Tottenham needs to be very careful because
In what regard?
the way I'm looking at Tottenham is somebody said, I was listening to the radio like a few days ago, and somebody said the media has got Tottenham wrapped around their little finger, because they can decide what to write about Tottenham because there's always some kind of like free story. There's always some kind of free silly story, floating about. They have to be very careful because I look at Tottenham like, like when you think there's a bomb around the corner and it's
No, a
about to
bomb is
explode.
okay, Abdul. A bomb is crazy.
Something, when you look at something that is quite unstable and you think this might fall apart, that's how
Um,
that's how I look at that's how I look at Tottenham.
and then so for next year, do you think they're going to? Do you think they can improve on what they've done, or do you think they're going to stay the same or regress? Or how do you see them kind of kicking
That,
off?
that, that, that's what I'm saying. It might be so bad they might start. You might see them struggling in like 16th or 17th next season
Okay,
because I
so
don't
then,
think
okay, so wait,
I think
yeah, expand on
because
that. Why do you think they're going to fall off or regresses that badly?
because
What
I
do you,
think because I think everybody's in a different direction. You know what I mean? Like the owners are like heading in a different direction. The
Mhm.
manager is heading in a different direction, and the players are suddenly facing a different direction. That's how I
Mhm.
look at Spurs,
Okay.
and so I'm looking at them like a team that is very unstable, that don't know what they're doing, and don't really know what they want. Okay, because I think like maybe this group of players, maybe once it gets to April, everybody just like start patting themselves on the back and say, "Oh, we've had season ends." I look at something like that. They sort of like you know take the season to end like a month before it does, and they start planning their holiday. And like anything the manager tells them to do is like a distraction. And with this Ange ball, I was listening to somewhere and somebody said like, "Oh, don't pay attention to Ange. High line for life. He's crazy." And I thought like, "Ooh, what a funny phrase by this fan." Not not until I heard the same thing like a few years ago. I'm sorry, a few days ago. It was actually Ange that said that. How can a manager say like high line for life? Is it
Yeah,
crazy?
it's funny, Abdul, because me and I don't know if you were here for this part, and then like we were going over this. Like, if you look at Tottenham's form, like throughout the season, right? I would like to call it schizophrenic because they started off the season so well. Right? I think they won 9 of their first 11 games and they drew the other 2. Right?
Yeah,
And then they go on and they go on and
they
lose.
lost like 4.
Yeah, they go on and draw 1 and lose 4 in 5 games, right?
Exactly.
And then they kind of are inconsistent for a little bit, and then they go on and they lose 4 straight again.
It's what I mean. So how can they not be like a time bomb? The moment where people started praising them at the start of the season, it got to their head and the whole thing just fell apart. I was like, what? And at that moment, we Chelsea fans were actually complaining. And I looked at it, I'm thinking like, if Forge gets a result like this, they'll have sacked him. This Ange went like 4 or 5 games losing. I'm thinking there's something wrong. There's something wrong with this. There's something wrong with this team, man. So Ange has to rein it in a bit. He has to forget about all this like ability factor and all this like highlight for life. You know.
Yeah, but
That's
Ange's already said he's definitely one of those philosophy merchant managers where he's not gonna try to compromise his knowledge play for anything.
Who am I to say he should compromise? Because I was reading a write up about him recently, and they said he what's it called? Is it Puskas or something like that? You know that guy where they normally that they use his name for I think when you score a great goals, they say you scored a Puskas or something like that.
The
Yeah,
Madrid
they were saying
player.
they were saying like that was Angie's mentor. Okay. And I think the guy actually coached in Australia at a
Yeah, he
certain
did.
point in his coaching career. So who am I to convince Ange to change his ways or compromise when he's some kind of Puskas, you know?
Yeah,
And
I think maybe the problem, so to speak, would be right. Like Tottenham are the type of club that you can really try to. I think you can really try to develop anything up because so obviously Levy has already shown that he doesn't really have the ambition to go out and get players to improve the squad, right? So if you're a manager and you're trying to develop any type of tactic, right? Like the play stuff to actually execute your game plan properly, and that which will, especially if it requires a specific level of player to have. So if the owner and play isn't going to get you those players and you don't want to compromise, then it's to your point, just kind of heading towards a fixed end, so to speak.
and the thing is, if he wants to do this high line for life kind of nonsense, I believe if you want to do any kind of philosophy that will require your players to do a lot of running, then you have to go for younger players. You're not going to be playing a high line with a centre back that is 29 years old and saying he should play high line. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of philosophy, you have to be very careful. And somebody has to tell what's it called, Ange to like rein it in because it's not going to work. I tell you, if he's here next season and is doing all this highline for life, they're not even going to finish in the top 10.
Because you think other teams will just find them out and
they will just work it out how to beat them.
All right. I see what you're saying. All right, guys. It's time for the I won't say the main event, but the main team that we're going to be speaking on. NK, are you still there with me? Okay, I think NK is. I don't know where NK is right now, but
maybe it's dripped away or something.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay,
just having water. Sorry, I'm here.
No, you're good. So, guys, Chelsea Football Club, blue is the color and all that good shit. It's been a very topsy-turvy season. Well, okay. The first thing I'm going to say is, if you could describe the season in one word, just one word, give me that word right now, please. Thank you. You go first.
Season in one word.
Yeah, only one word. I don't want to hear a sentence. I don't want to hear a phrase. Literally just one word.
Ooh, that is tough, you know. One word, Abdul.
Abdul, okay, you keep going. You keep thinking about it if you want to. Abdul, do you have the word for me?
Is that a word?
Wait. You said I don't even know what you were just said to me, Abdul.
No. I was going to say like HMMMMMMM.
Yeah,
Is that a word?
It's more of a noise, but I'll accept it. I guess.
It's the Iris. It's the Iris season.
Oh. No,
you know when Ancelotti raises his eye?
Yeah.
That
would be my word for this to describe the season.
The season is chai.
Chelsea,
that's the season. Chai.
So when it comes to Chelsea, we're gonna start because this is probably gonna take up most of the rest of the stream. To be honest, we're gonna start in the beginning of the season. You know, like Genesis in the Bible in the beginning. This game, man, you guys see it, right? You guys see the screen, right?
Yeah.
This game filled me with so much hope for this season, man. And looking back at it, given all the full context of what we now know about these two teams, I think this is just Liverpool being bad, honestly, more than Chelsea being
No,
good.
I disagree, yo. I disagree.
You please speak your piece, Anken.
I disagree. Because the way I look at it, right? This game, I thought we were the better side in this game. This is game 1 of the season, though. I thought we were the better side. I believe Liverpool stood firm. They rode it. They got the early goal actually, and then they coasted for the rest of the game. They couldn't do anything. It was in our hands basically. It was Salah's quality to put them 1-0 up. Then Disasi equalized.
Yeah, that was a great pass from because I think Salah was the one that got that pass off, right?
Salah played the pass. Was it Diaz goal? Yeah, he did the outside of the foot, right?
Well, that pass was a really, really good pass. I can't.
Yeah. But if we look at Liverpool season, they've had games like that, man. They weren't good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying because Liverpool, especially that middle portion of the season around November, December, they were just vibing their way to wins and playing down to their competition, doing all sorts of nonsense. So I'm saying when I look at that first Chelsea game,
okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I don't know, like it's like maybe that's just maybe Liverpool was just doing that stupid thing that they were doing as opposed to it actually being Chelsea turning a corner. Who knows? Maybe I'm being too pessimistic, but that's just kind of what it ended up feeling like, I guess.
Okay. Chimere, can you move the pieces on the screen, or is that just an image?
That's just an image.
Okay, you can't really move the players, the items.
No, but this is what I can do for you though. Hold on, because I also have SofaScore open as well. So, because what I like about SofaScore is it will show you like the average positions of the players throughout the match.
Okay. So can you? Okay, so we can move the players.
No, we can't. We still can't move it, but it'll just give you a more
accurate. Okay. We still can move it. Okay. Because I think basically like no. If you go back to, no, I wish we could move this stuff. If you go back to this, I think when we have the ball, because there's always we kind of played. We're quite fluid tactically. So I'm starting to think now that normally when we have the ball, what we are doing now, people are saying like, why did he change it, whatever. I don't think he's changed anything. We're still what we do when we have the ball is what we've been doing since the beginning of the season till now. I don't think there's been change in formation. There might be change in the movement of the players. Okay, so hold on. So just leave it like that. Just leave it like that. So when we have the ball, what happened is Ben Chilwell goes to the left wing. Okay, Reece
Yeah,
James
you gave us the map over here. But look how
yeah,
high.
so he goes to the left wing. Exactly. Reece James goes to the right wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes to the right wing. Yeah, and let's go back to the main picture.
Who else did you want to be here?
And Raheem Sterling goes like a number 10 next to Jackson. Yeah. And Kearney, Conor Gallagher. Sorry, Kearney goes as like a number 10 to the left of Jackson. So when we have the ball, if you just reduce that a bit.
Okay.
So when we have the ball, okay, it will be Kearney, Chukwemeka next to Nicholas and Raheem Sterling. They're both on the left and right side of Jackson. And Reece James, it becomes our right winger, and Ben Chilwell becomes our left winger. Okay.
Yeah, because you can even. Sorry to cut you. You can even see it because through the average positions, right? So Ben Chilwell was about just as high as Raheem Sterling, and then
exactly. That's exactly
a little bit further back.
Exactly.
And I think honestly, the most interesting, I guess, change.
And it's Enzo, and who is
Gallagher.
the other guy in the middle?
It was Gallagher. This was before they finished the Caicedo deal.
Yeah. So it will be Conor Gallagher and Enzo.
Yeah.
In our as the two pivots, the two central midfielders.
Mm-hmm.
You get my point? So it will be, let's just go back to the maybe. So it will be then Levi Colwell goes to the left and Disassis goes to the right and Tego Silva sits in the middle. The difference now is rather than have Reece James go to right wing and Ben Chilwell goes to left wing, right? What's it called? Cucurella goes from left full back and then goes to where Conor Gallagher is. Okay. And then next to him will be Caicedo. And then Conor Gallagher goes to play where Kani Chukwemeka is. Okay. And Cole Palmer is where Raheem Sterling is. Okay, and Reece James has become a right wing back. Noni becomes the right wing back. So what we play the formation, what I'm trying to say is still the same. It's just the players that move now is different from the players that used to move then.
Okay, you know what, Abdul, this is what I'm gonna do to kind of compare your point, right? I'm gonna bring up, I would say, the best Chelsea have looked right in this last little 5-game spell that they've had was the game against the West Ham, right?
West Ham, yeah.
So I'm gonna compare that lineup to the initial lineup against Liverpool, and just to kind of really see where the where the differences really lie in terms of the lineup.
But I mean, if you kind of understand what I'm saying, then you.
Yeah, I know. I definitely know what you mean about where the players are. Hold on, I'm gonna. So I changed it. This was the lineup that Chelsea had against the West Ham compared to that.
Okay. Okay. So if you look at it, okay, when we have the ball, okay, when we're in possession, then Mykhailo Mudryk plays the left full back. Sorry, left wing.
Yeah, over here.
Yeah. So he plays the left wing, and in that Liverpool game, it was
because they didn't have any true wingers except Chilwell had the space to.
Chilwell was the left wing.
Yeah, he had the space around the byline. Yeah,
exactly. But in this game, Mudryk was the left wing,
Mhm.
and then
Oga.
yeah, and
I
then
don't-
Noni was the right wing.
Okay,
Okay.
you wanted to say something?
Oh, is this the most recent West
Yeah,
Ham
yeah.
game?
So this is the most
The
recent
West
one.
Ham game.
Okay.
No,
Sorry,
no,
go
So
ahead, Abdul.
what I'm trying to say is the formation, especially in possession, has remained the same from the start to the end of the season. The only thing that differed actually is the personnel that we're using and the fluidity and the movement of the personnel. Which personnel are moving now and which of the personnel were moving then. Okay. Then we had Rhys James going to right wing and what's he called? Ben Chilwell playing as a left wing.
Yeah, I never want to see
Okay.
that ever again.
But now we have Noni playing as the right wing. Okay. And we have, like today, we had Raheem Sterling playing on the left wing. But before when it used to be Carney Chukwemeka, okay, playing to the what was I gonna say?
You're playing through like
No,
the
no, no,
left
no, no,
split.
no, no, no. Before what used to happen before is our right full back used to become the right wing, but now our left full back becomes a central midfielder. So if you get what I mean, so is the players, the personnel that move now that has changed. So it's not like the system has changed. So now Corella goes to midfield, and then Conor Gallagher goes to number 10. But before, what happens is Rhys James or goes to right wing. Okay,
Yeah,
goes to right wing, and then who again?
because no, I know what you're talking about. 'Cause especially he did that the first game that they won last season, the Luton game. That was how Chelsea scored one of their goals. Was through, I believe it was Gusto. He like made he was doing a lot of overlapping down the right
Yeah,
hand.
yeah. Okay. So people think he's overlapping, but he becomes the right winger when we're in possession.
Well, the
Either
reason why I
either Rhys
called it
James or
it
Gusto.
overlapping was because I believe it was Sterling that was playing right wing that game. I'm gonna check, but in a second. But whoever the right winger was, yeah, what was saying?
So Sterling rather than Sterling. So when we're in possession, Sterling then moves from the right wings and becomes
Into
a
10.
number 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sterling moves to the position that Cole Palmer plays now, because then I don't think we had Cole Palmer, so he moves to a 10 and becomes
Because what because Poch was doing on that season is he would more so have, it was weird. I was watching those. You kind of
I can't hear
have.
you. You're cracking.
Yeah, you're cracking.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh no, you're fine now. I
It's
was
better
gonna
now.
say
It's better
just
now.
to
Well, what the hell is
just
wrong with my internet, man? But so anyway, sorry. What I was saying was what I noticed he was doing in the early part of the season was he would have essentially Sterling and Jackson try to run as a front through big man, little man duo. When he would have Gusto kind of occupied that right wing space. And the issue that Chelsea were having was just kind of the lack of creativity through the middle, because this is before Cole Palmer really became a big part of the attack. So like they were kind of struggling to really carve out any meaningful chances. It's just part of the reason why they were having problems breaking teams down. But keep going.
So put it this way. When we're in possession, when we have the ball, our formation changes to 3-2-5. So we have 5 attackers. So that's what happens. So, but before it was confusing people because it was just it looked fluid. It looked natural because it's our right full back, either James or Gusto, that moves to our right wing. You get it? So, but now it's actually we actually played 2 natural wingers, which is Mudryk and Noni. So, and our fullback that migrates is now Cucurella and migrates to the midfield. So
Um,
it's still 3-2-3-2-5 when we're in possession. And that's what I'm trying to emphasize is that's what he's been playing right from the beginning of the season
Yeah. I want to
up
say,
until now.
yeah. Okay. What are you gonna say, NK?
I want to say, Abdul, I agree with you. Now that I'm thinking about it, because do you remember, right, at the start of the season, he rolled this out, and then Carney got injured, right,
Yeah,
against West Ham. Remember, he scored that lovely goal, and
exactly.
then he
Yeah,
got injured, and then we
yeah,
saw Mudryk playing 10, and we were like, wait, that's weird. I haven't seen that before. That doesn't make sense. And
exactly.
They were sharing the same pitch, Cho or Mudryk, but Mudryk was playing 10 instead of Connie's
Yeah,
position. So
yeah.
I think Poch has just kept the formation the same, right? He's changed the personnel. So at certain times it could be Mudryk at 10. I've seen Enzo play that 10 role as well. Um, as one of the 10s. Sterling, Palmer, so on and so forth. And I didn't watch. I watched the game in parts today, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone watched, but I think we flipped. So Gusto became the right winger again today. Was
Thank
it
you very
Gusto?
much. Yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah,
It was Gusto. I think it flipped,
Gusto.
right? So Gusto
Exactly.
became the right winger, and then
Yeah.
maybe Cuckoo went back to centre back, maybe, or was he still pushing forward into the midfield? I don't
He
know.
was still push. He was still pushing into the midfield
Okay,
when we're in possession. So you can see now it's which player that he decides to change.
to change, yeah.
Okay, that is making the difference. It's not like the formation has changed. People
Hmm.
were saying we've changed the formation. We've not changed the formation from the start of the season till now. It's the players that is asking to do the movement
So,
to migrate
so
that is changing.
let me ask you a question, Abdul. This sounds rude, and I, Poch, if you're watching, I'm not trying to be rude. Don't you think he could have profiled it better from the onset earlier, or am I crazy? Does it take you until April to find out? Okay, you have a system, right? It should take you this long to find out who could play where within what. Okay, I get it. There's injuries. Um, I get it. There's injuries, but come on, Abdul, come on.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no. NK, you're not rude at all. Okay, as a Chelsea fan, that's what you should. That's actually absolutely correct question you are asking. But you think you know what I think affected that, or what I think caused that? He's trying to accommodate certain players. That's number one
mm,
into the starting 11, especially, and then number two, he got affected by injuries a lot.
mhm.
You get me? He got affected because this stuff we're talking about. Okay, Connie Chukwemeka was the guy who was migrating to number 10.
Yep,
Okay, so imagine if he didn't
get
get
injured.
injured. Okay, but at the moment, the person doing that is Conor Gallagher. He's the one that is migrating to the 10, who is at to the left of of Jackson, and then Cole Palmer is to the right of Jackson. Okay, and one thing Conor Gallagher does well is Conor Gallagher is a runner and he does a lot of pressing. What you might blame him for that oh he does a lot of you know headless chicken running, headless running, and he's pressing that is but the thing is that takes away pressure from your team because when he's doing that running around and they are passing the ball amongst themselves, especially in their own defense, okay, is allowing your own team to rest and is making your team actually able to actually reposition themselves properly. And it's taking away pressure, then putting pressure on your team. Okay. So Carney cannot do that, doesn't do that. Okay. And Enzo does not do that.
Yeah, because he was also trying to experiment with having Enzo
Exactly.
as the main creative.
And he used those two a lot when they were available to him to play that Conor Gallagher position that Conor Gallagher is playing now.
Yeah, I
Okay,
do agree
so
because
I think he's going to have to make some serious position. Let's say we have this team next season and we have the same set of players that we have now. We have them next season. He's going to start benching some high-profile players,
Yeah.
not because of what they cannot do, but in terms of effectiveness of the system we're trying to play.
Mhm.
Because this system is most effective if you have Conor Gallagher migrating from the midfield to the 10 and you have Cucurella migrating from the defense to the midfield. Another thing about Cucurella is, okay, Cucurella is like a what do you call them? It's like a feisty, what do you call these dogs that's like is it Tiara or Rottweilers or what do you call them?
Rottweilers, yeah.
Yeah,
Chihuahua.
it's like
Or Pitbull.
a feisty Chihuahua.
He said
Okay,
Chihuahua.
so he goes around and causes mayhem. Like if he goes to midfield, he's available everywhere in midfield, and his distribution is very good. His distribution is very good. Like it's starting to look like you need him now in midfield, even if you don't want to use him as even if you don't play him as left back and you play a box standard, let's say just hypothetically we play a box standard 4-2-3-1. Okay, it's starting to look like it will make sense to have Cucurella in midfield.
Well, because I
And
would say
Cucurella,
with the Cucurella thing too, right? Because when he was at Getafe, he was a midfielder, and
was he?
yeah, he was. He played.
Wow.
Um,
No. Because number one, I never knew. Okay, I
Oh my
never
god.
knew. And then number two, it just sort of like vindicated the questions you asked Nana. That if we are just talking from like a novice point of view. Like some of us never knew Cucurella till like he was one season in Brighton. Okay, but you expected somebody to like Poch to have analyzed this guy ever since all his playing career, and I've realized that this guy can play midfield. Why don't I try him all this while? What? And your question is valid. It just makes your question valid. That why have you not tried him in midfield all this while? You must have been aware, even if we did, because I was never aware. But all I kept saying all season about Cucurella before you started going to midfield is that this guy can play left back, he can play right back, he can play central defense in the back three, and his ball distribution is very good. I never even knew he can play midfield. Okay, so
Yeah.
no wonder, it all makes sense now. No wonder Poch wanted him. No wonder Poch was desperate for him. And if Poch was using him how we're using him now, then we'll say Poch is a genius. You know what I mean? I'm just coming to this realization. I never knew he was a midfielder. I just thought he was always like just a left back.
No,
And he was good
this
with the
guy.
ball.
To be fair, Abdul, he's played. This guy has played everywhere, man. He's played left wing. He's played left midfield. He's played left wing back.
Because what you forget too. Sorry to cut you off, Anke. Was he came from La Masia, like at Barcelona.
Yeah, Barca, right?
Yeah.
And then because Chelsea is such a weird team, right? Because I would say the best performance Chelsea had before this little like 5-game spot right here, right, was that FA Cup game against Aston Villa. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. You said, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And then because in that Aston Villa game, right? Because what I can say about Chelsea is they're such a versatile team when you look at them. Because I think in that game, Poch was trying to experiment with building up in a back, with building up with Diassi and Badia Shield, and trying to have both fullbacks kind of like be attacking at the same time. And I think what kind of, because we can all agree that Poch has been experimenting with like different formations and crap throughout the season. And what really kind of killed off this idea was that stupid Wolves game. was that second Wolves game where Chilwell and what's his face, Thiago Silva got exploited straight to hell. So, and I guess looking at kind of Chelsea's performances this season, right? Because I alluded to this when I was talking on the chat and on Friday. So Chelsea won out of their first 6 Premier League matches, right? And obviously that's probably the biggest contributor as to why they're in the position that they're in. And I guess I would ask you guys, like, what do you think specifically was going wrong in those first 6 matches and do you think those things kind of got rectified throughout the season or not? Because for 1 win in 6 is like obviously relegation form level. So
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'll start with you, Ken. Like,
okay.
What do you think was going wrong specifically in those first 6 matches, right? So we're talking, from Liverpool, that West Ham loss, finally they beat Luton, then they lost to Nottingham, couldn't break down Bournemouth, and then they lost to Aston Villa.
Let me tell you, because the early 2 Chelsea games I went to this season was Forest and Wimbledon. To be fair to the Wimbledon game, Poch rotated heavily because it was Wimbledon. And then he brought the big boys on because we went 1-0 down. It was never a penalty, but we went 1-0 down. And I watched Forest live in the flesh. I'll say we had the first 6 games, apart from the West Ham game. Actually, no, but to be fair, that proves my point. I'll say the first 6 games, we had issues creativity, like with creativity. I thought it was so stale. It was so boring. It was so lethargic to watch.
From what I remember the first half of that West Ham game, they were cooking them, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, it was, and that's my point. As soon as Carney Chukwuemeka went down, it changed, and it became boring. Like watching this team, it was. I remember there was a Bournemouth game as well. We should have lost that game. It was poor. I think his subs within the first 6 games were mind-boggling. Like it didn't make any sense. We'd go down. He'd take off Moises Caicedo. Why, I don't know. And then he'll put all the wingers on the pitch. And then when we concede again, you think we'll be surprised, but we have no structure because our only defensive midfielder is not on the pitch, right? I think, like Abdul said, with the 3-2-5 formation, let me tell you something, Poch, just in case you don't know. Chilwell is one of the worst footballers in the Premier League. So if you want to rely on him to perform any function, I don't think you're gonna get the joy that you think you are. He's one of the worst. He's one of the worst.
Fair, after that first Liverpool game, it was mostly Colwell playing left back for like that first half of the season.
And then what? Up until Chilwell got injured, he was trialing Chilwell at the wing of the 5, right? Abdul, he's not a good footballer, Poch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I just mean like
no. What happened is if you go back to the page, the one we had up now, if you let me just say no, where we had the team.
Oh, you're talking about
was it against the one?
Which one do you want to do?
The one that showed before this one.
You're talking about here?
The team, no, yeah. So No. The one where you had Chilwell as the left full back. Not
Okay, so
this
that would have been
image. The image before.
the Liverpool game then.
Yeah.
Or
Is it
did he
the
play?
Liverpool
Because did he
game?
play? Because did he play there when they played West Ham?
I
Oh,
wouldn't
he
be yeah.
did. Oh, wait, hold on. I got you. This one, this game.
Yeah. So if you hold on, just hold on. Then. Yeah. So NK. So when we have the ball, okay, Colwell is one of the three at the back.
hmm
You get it?
Yeah.
And Chilwell becomes one of the becomes the left winger. Okay, he
yeah.
becomes one of the wingers in the front five.
Mhm.
Okay, so in this case, but the problem with this formation is when we are out of possession and we go 4-4-2 or 4-4-1-1.
Yeah.
Okay, Colwell becomes the left back.
hmm
Thiago Silva and Disasi become the central defenders, and Gusto becomes the right back.
Yeah.
And he experimented with this formation for so long.
Mm.
I don't know why he kept at it, maybe injury reasons,
Mm.
or maybe he didn't have the personnel, or he thought this was the best personnel for that system. But you see, the
This was
problem,
when
I think,
because this is when he was he was pretty much trying to convince us that Madueke and Mudryk were not going to be playing matches.
I don't know why he was leaving them out consistently, but I wouldn't really blame a manager for putting out a player or benching a player, because it happens a lot in City. You don't see a player for like 2 months, and then suddenly you see him playing like 10 games
10
straight.
streets. Yeah.
Okay, but the thing is, like, their system is always working, and
Mhm.
ours wasn't working for a long time, and you're thinking, why has it not been changing the personnel?
So this was the
Okay,
Forest game.
okay,
What a shocking game. Abdul, sorry to cut you off,
yeah.
because, like you said, right? Because we haven't even talked about Chelsea fundamentally this season, but I'm talking about future, right? Like you said, right? There's going to be players that are going to miss out. And the way I see it, right? What I think Poch is going to try to do, Abdul, I said it here first, so remember, and SK, remember I said it.
Mhm.
Poch might try Enzo on the left wing.
You mean like the left half space, or you literally mean down the byline?
No, I wouldn't be surprised if it's down the byline, Abdul, like where Chilwell has been taken up. I wouldn't be surprised if Poch puts Enzo there.
Why do you think that position, he might try him that position? Because Enzo hasn't got anything that makes him looks like he can play from the wings.
From the wings,
Yeah.
it's true, but I don't know if it's coverage.
You're thinking like if Gallagher can do it, then
No,
he
but
might want
I
to
haven't
try
actually. Oh,
Enzo.
I've seen. To be fair, I think it was the Sheffield game. I saw Gallagher take that wing position, right?
Yeah, no,
That's what I'm saying.
Gallagher's played on the left wing before.
On the left hand
Yeah.
side. I think,
Yeah.
and Abdul, I don't know why. I just get a feeling Enzo's gonna. He's gonna put Enzo. He's gonna try and put Enzo there.
You know why you're saying it? You know why you're saying it? Because Gallagher and Caicedo are starting to look like what makes Gallagher, Caicedo, and Cucurella are starting to make it look like it's what makes the system works.
Mm.
You get it?
Mm.
It's starting to look like those three parents is what is making the system tick.
Mm.
Because the system has been there right from day dot.
From day dots.
So, but then the personnel he's using now, and my fear is, it's not really a fear because I don't really care, because as long as I'm getting the result, is it's starting to look like the players that are making the system tick are actually our low profile players.
Mm.
The Gallagher, the Caicedo, the Cucurellas.
Mm.
I mean, I'd say
and the Gustos.
Mm.
Okay. And the Chalubas. And the high profile ones are actually not delivering.
Mm.
They are not adapting well to the system, the effective system. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
So I think that might be the issue going forward, especially if we keep the same team. Because what they bring into the system is difficult because the amount of running that Gallagher does, the only person I see that can do that is maybe Caicedo. Okay.
Because do you know what I was thinking of? What I was thinking Poch was going to do next year was try to experiment with seeing if he can put Caicedo in the role that Gallagher has now, and then to try to run a double pivot of Cucurella and Enzo, especially if they end up getting rid of Gallagher in the summer.
I don't know.
You see, but that boils down to what I'm saying. You are now starting to think that Cucurella has to be in the team because of the system.
Well, it's more so because I think Enzo in particular will need I don't want to say protection, but more so like defensive work rate. Like around
I understand that. No, I understand that.
But you're still saying Cuckoo is in the team as a mainstay.
Well, it's more okay, but because even if you get like a different profile left back, right? Then you're gonna have if you have a left back that decides that is a more of a attacking left back, then you just end up having that running that double pivot of Enzo and Caicedo again.
No, brother, no. That
NK, I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
It's done. We don't need to. It doesn't work. It's done.
That's what I'm saying.
NK, I know where you're going to. Where you're going to is if we buy a more flamboyant or a different kind of left back.
We don't need to buy a left back.
No. Hold on. So just say hypothetically, we'll find some Roberto Carlos, and he's 22 years old, and they go out and buy him. You know what will happen? Cucurella will take the position of Conor Gallagher. So he will be that guy that starts in the midfield and migrates to a 10. Remember, Cucurella is good at going forward.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, a 10 that's your most important creative position. That's a lot of because to be fair, I would assume you would still have Cole Palmer drifting inside to kind of take up most of the actual.
But what Cole Palmer does is Cole Palmer plays a 10 when we're in possession, so he's at the right of the striker. Okay, but when we are out of possession, okay, he's like the 2 in the 4-4-2 possession. So he's pairing with Jackson up front.
Yeah, because what I noticed too is that Chelsea, like part of the reason why Chelsea have improved as massively as they have is their press, like their pressing ability from the front has gone massively better.
I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back.
All right, okay.
And where are you looking at the pressing from? You are looking at the pressing when we are out of possession.
Yeah. But I'm saying immediately, specifically the counter press when they're trying to win the ball back, immediately.
Exactly. I don't know is a center forward that has a higher interception than Cole Palmer. Okay, but that's when we are out of possession. You get it? That's when we are out of possession. Okay. But the thing is, you're starting to look at the system and you're starting to see that we might not be able to leave people like Caicedo, Cucurella out of the starting 11. Gallagher, maybe not. Okay. If he leaves, then there's nothing he can do. But if he stays, you're starting to see that you're starting to appreciate the work of certain players out of possession. And you're starting to see that part of the reason why we've gone on this 5-streak run is because of certain players, the work they are doing when we're out of possession. And out of possession, you're coming to realize it's as important as what we do in possession. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not only good to just think about it's only not just limited to think about what do we do with players in possession now when we're in possession. when we're in possession, it's of course it's good to have like the end zones, to flick the ball around. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But to have the Kari Chukwemeka to do the impressive passes and impressive runs.
And I think
But
also the other thing to keep in mind is when you do win the possession up high, right? It does a better job of boxing the opposition into their half, which is then going to give more space for your more creative players to start making more entry passes. Because that's basically what happened in that second half of the Aston Villa game. Because Chelsea just
NK is backstage.
oh, he's
I
backstage.
think,
Okay.
yeah, I think,
Okay.
Thank you, Abdul. Yeah.
Yeah. So because like to your point, Abdul, like when you win the ball back higher up, right, like on a more consistent basis, you're gonna box in the opposition more. Thus is gonna make it easier for your more creative players to play those entry passes because they're just
exactly,
operating closer to the goal in the first place. So,
exactly,
which is
exactly.
the reason why I was yeah, keep going.
But I think before what we're doing is we're just playing football in possession. What do we do with the ball when we're in possession? You pass to Enzo, you pass to Connie Chukwemeka, you make all this free flow, you pass to Kopama, you pass to Ramsey, all this stuff. But in the Premier League, out of possession is as important as in possession.
Abdul, you bring up an excellent point because I remember I was watching I don't know if you heard these guys. It's called like Tifo football or whatever. And this was when they were talking about like some of what Chelsea's issues were, right? Especially when it was more dire. And one of the things that they brought up was the concept of rest defense, right? So how your team gets back on defense once they've turned the ball over. Because and the reason why it was called rest defense is because obviously when you're in possession, the defense isn't going to be actively trying to defend the other team because you have the
Yeah,
ball. And
yeah.
even when you look at specifically that first especially the initial part of the season, right? So I just want to pull up the goals real quick. The West Ham game that the goal that West Ham won on was through Mikel Antonio winning the ball off of Diaz.
Oh, I remember that goal. Yeah.
The non-enforced game that Chelsea lost was because the defense played a bad pass to Caicedo, and I think Cho or one of the non-enforced intercepted it, and they played in Elanga and they scored. Aston Villa, literally the same thing happened. What's it called? Aston Villa like sprung off of a corner, and they got the ball into Ollie Watkins, and Ollie Watkins scored the stupidest goal I think I've ever seen because basically he shot it, Colwell blocked the shot, and then the ball went back to Watkins, and he scored the goal off of an even tighter angle. So yeah, to your point about Chelsea being unable to respond on defense, and then Arsenal game, obviously, specifically, what's it called? Sanchez,
yeah.
yeah. The Brentford game, I'm gonna have to relook to see how Brentford scored again, but
Brentford scored off a corner. The last it was 2-0. The first game was off a cross to the back post, Ethan Pinnock goal, and then the second one, Maatsen failed to like handle a ball, and then Mbeumo was fully on goal. Remember when Sanchez was chasing Mbeumo?
Yeah.
So
So to your point, Abdul, about just Chelsea just being poor at defending when the time comes for it. Like when it's not like obviously like usually when, for example, if the opposition is pinning you back and you don't have possession of the ball, you're going to be more locked in mentally to defend because you don't have the ball, and it's kind of hard. And as opposed to having to switch that on mentally when you lose the ball, and I think obviously that probably would come from just having younger players in the squad, right? So they don't really have the experience to know. At least that would be my theory. Is they wouldn't have the experience to know exactly where they should be stationed to be when they need to defend. And I think especially right that not having that experience leads to them being more passive when trying to defend counterattacks specifically. And obviously the more passive you are, the closer the opposition is going to get to your goal. And then then at that point, if any mistake that you make or don't make can be the difference between whether you concede or don't concede.
I
And then when you combine that with, and we haven't even gone to Chelsea's issues at set pieces. Oh my goodness!
I'm not even too worried about set pieces.
why?
I think
Because they've conceded 10 off of set pieces, like off of corners and free
yeah,
kicks. Bro,
yeah. Well, because I think that can easily be rectified.
Are you sure?
I think yeah, that can.
it definitely
rectified.
no. Because the issue, honestly, from what I noticed with their set piece problems, is just basically because Pochettino is still running like zonal marking on defense, and then when you combine that with Chelsea just not having particularly tall players, pretty much if any player screws it up, you're basically giving the opposition a free header at goal. So,
and another thing is, see, when our most physical defender is actually our shortest defender, then that's a problem. Okay, the most physical defender is Cucurella.
Is Cucurella?
Okay, the tall guys are not as physical.
It's true.
When I mean physical, like they don't play physical football.
They're a bit soft, right?
Like exactly, like skin to skin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're gonna have this problem. Okay. This has to be brought out in them in some kind of way, or maybe you will have to, start defending set pieces in numbers. Okay, but with time, I think this kind of thing you can get better at it. The area where I'm most concerned is when the opposition has the ball through our wings. We're not doing enough to stop opposition coming through the wings.
yeah, because that was part of the reason why he wasn't playing the wingers at first, at least from what he said. He was saying that they weren't doing enough to support their fullback on defense.
Exactly. And you would see now he's starting to favor, at some point of the game, starting to favor bringing in Gusto as our right winger, because when we are defending, is supporting is natural
He's
for him to
he's a
support
natural fullback, right?
to support the fullback. Okay, the crosses, when it's so easy to come through our wings. Okay, that's because. But then I can see, you see, that's another area where I can see Caicedo and Gallagher really playing important parts, and they've started improving in that. I can the last game we played at home, I saw a lot of, is it at home or where, I can't remember, but one of our last few games, I saw a lot of Gallagher. I think it's Nottingham Forest. I saw a lot of Gallagher coming down the left wing to support Cucurella.
Yeah,
so that
he was.
stop the crosses.
Yeah. It was Forest.
Yeah, to support the crosses coming in. And I see Caicedo doing a lot for the other wings
side.
now, from the side now. So they are getting more and more experience in doing that. But it's not easy for them, because then they still have to move and become. So that is only the place I normally have fear for anytime we are playing a game. With the other aspects, I think it's just natural that they'll get better at it.
Let me.
So I'm not.
Yeah, what are you going to say, Ken?
Abdul, because me and Abdul talk, a fair bit on the group chats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm scared about this club because the Chelsea I've known, the only agenda is winning. We were there to win games with these guys, and I'm not one, I'm not xenophobic, I'm not prejudicing anyone from where they are. But with Todd Bowley, for example, I still don't know if winning's at the forefront. I think to entertain, I think Chelsea are the most entertaining team in the league. I know a lot of people that would say, "Oh, I love watching Chelsea play." I've seen Troy Deeney, or I've heard Troy Deeney on Talksport say Chelsea are my favorite team to watch. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of winning, SK, I don't know if that's in the forefront of the decision makers. I really don't.
So you
I
know what I
really
would
don't.
say to that? Because I think
I
because
really don't.
based off of what Todd Bowley does for like MLB, and I don't watch a lot of baseball at all, right? Like I think he does seem like the type of guy that wants a quote unquote like Hollywood type of team, right? Because I think he spent a crap ton of money on the Dodgers too to make them the best team in MLB or whatever. But I don't watch baseball, so I can't really say for sure if they are the best team or not. But he does give me the air that he wants it. He wants Chelsea to be in that conversation, whether he's doing it the right way or not. I would say in terms of if I were to look at this through an optimistic lens, right? The optimistic lens in me would say, okay, given the profile of the players of this club, right? Given how long Pep stays in the Premier League for, right? On the high end of the best case scenario would be Pep stays for like 2-3 years more, right? He leaves, and then at the same time that Pep leaves, the young players now start peaking at around age 25, 26, 27. And then you essentially just have a full squad of prime 27-year-olds, all top end, that are ready and raring to go to like win trophies. So that would be the best case scenario. Is that fair to say?
The best case scenario is we start winning next season. But yes, okay, fine. Yes.
Well, best case scenario through a realistic lens. Basically.
Yeah, okay. All right, cool.
So
The thing is, okay, NK, I don't think you have anything to worry about. You know why I said that?
I don't think these players get worse
Because
this year.
Because where we finished today, so many people did not expect it at the start of last month. Just last month, both Chelsea and non-Chelsea fans. The difference is the Chelsea fans were not happy about it, and the non-Chelsea fans were like really getting excited about it to be able to stick one in and say, "Oh, we told you, you're a dead club now. You finished 10th last season. You finished 10th again this season." Okay, but the thing is, the where we finished today, the consensus by majority of Chelsea fans. Remember, I said Chelsea fans because I really don't care what non-Chelsea fans says. The consensus by majority of Chelsea fans is that from the evidence they've seen and what they're looking at, this team has a top 4 finish in them.
Yes.
This is a top 4 finish team from the evidence they've got, and that's the consensus out there. Okay, then they come out with the nuances. Oh, we had injuries. It's a new team. Port should have done this here, done that there. We're not far from whatever. So
and I think
what I'm trying to say going forward, let's say we have this exact team next season, except we have some kind of ultra unluckiness, this team, every Chelsea fan will agree, or majority of them will agree, that this team is a top 4 team. Okay? Now, going back to the owners, if you just follow the evidence if you use what the owners have said here and there and use it as evidence, you will see that they want to expand their horizon. And they know that in them expanding, winning is critical. You can tell they realize that they have to keep winning. They cannot just be a club just because they are Chelsea. They will expand. You can see they want to expand, but you can tell they understand that for them to expand, they need to keep winning. Okay, so I don't think they are that kind of mindset where they just say like, "Oh, the top 4 finish is just okay by us." Going to next season, I can almost guarantee you from what they have said here and there, some of the things they've dropped, here and there, that they want to do better than they did this season, next season. How they go about it, I don't know, or how they want to go about it. but they want to definitely do better than they've done this season. So for that, me, I don't have any fear whatsoever.
And I think, again, to Abdul's point too, I think just by the very nature of the type of squad that Chelsea have, the fact that all these players are so young, right? They realistically are really only going to get better. They're not going to get worse than where they are right now. So if 5 points off of top 4, right, is the worst that these players are as of right now, May 19th, 2024, then that would bode well for what this team should be able to do in the future. And obviously, right, like 6, obviously for 12 of Chelsea's stature isn't good enough. However, given the context that they did finish 10th last year, and obviously I wasn't very exactly, and Abdul knows specifically, I was not happy about the type of player profiles that the owners landed for, but they're here. Right, these are the players.
Wait, like who?
I'm just saying, like the young players. Just the fact that they went out for young players specifically, like
okay,
random ass, like young players that they, I guess, identified as good enough or whatever. But they're here, so it is what it is. And now on that front, but yeah, I think just by the very nature of how young players are, just the fact that they're going to get better, I think is enough that I wouldn't exactly like be worried about whether or not Chelsea can be at the top end of the table next season and seasons to come after that. And then honestly, I would say too, just given how Chelsea have finished the season, right? Like it would the main question now is how well are they able to sustain the level of play next year, right? Because if they can do, because next year is going to be a critical point, because if they can sustain that level of play next year, then that just means that this is just who Chelsea are now. They are a top 4 level team, or a top 6 level team, or a title winning team, wherever they fall in that diagram. And then from there on, I think then the owners can really figure out, okay, that can be when the owners just start actually trying to get an experience, because now they know what this squad is actually like capable of top to bottom. You know what I mean?
no,
But
yeah, go ahead, Abdul.
But like you said, these guys can only get better. I saw it somewhere today. It says something like "Happy 21st birthday, Gusto."
Yes, it's his
And I'm
21st
thinking
birthday.
oh, is it still this young? I thought it was like going to 22. So it's it's just natural progression that you improve from. If you're 21 now, it's only natural progression that you improve again next season. Okay, and I remember him saying something like, "Oh, since I've been in Chelsea, things have been different. Like I've got to think more now about playing for Chelsea. I've got to like prepare like I'm playing for Chelsea." So what I'm trying to bring out is, if a team can go 5 games, five wins, 5 straight wins consecutively, okay, it means they are becoming more and more stable as a team. And I already said this at the start of the season, that the team was not stable. And what that means is, a team that is not stable, like you win 1 game, you lose 2 games, you win 3 games, you lose 1 game, you win 4 games, you draw, you lose 3 games, But what this team has shown to me is like they are becoming more and more stable. And somebody was saying like, oh, but if you look at the teams they played against, they're like just weak teams. It doesn't matter. Because what it means is, if you can have the mentality of winning 5 straight games, okay, then you are capable of winning 7 straight games. Then you're capable of winning 10 straight games.
Because I was alluding to this earlier too, right? Because I think one of the most important things to even keep in mind is not, they didn't play well for the entire 5-game period, but they still won, and that's the sign of a team that can execute.
But no, but NK, if you watch all those games, right, you will see that it's the games that they didn't play well, but their mentality was up there. Their mentality was the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why
because towards the end of the game,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
that
Towards
a sign of a top quality team is even when you can't, even when you're not playing up to your maximum like level, when you can still grind out results because right, like at the end of these players are human, right? So they're not always going to play up to, like they're always going to go through peaks and valleys in terms of their performance throughout the season. However,
exactly.
how the
And
actual result needs to stay the same if they want to be at the top end of the table, and being able to navigate how you're going to get that result, even when you're not playing well, is the sign of a truly great team. And obviously, and I think that usually just comes from experience because at the end of the day, even if you're not playing well, if you could just execute for a couple minutes, and that could be the difference between winning and losing games. And that was what Chelsea were proving that they weren't able to do throughout the beginning of the season. Because, like I said, that first 6 games I was telling you about, right? Then I was telling you how like they lost some of those games, whether it was the Nottingham game or the Aston Villa game, none of those games were just Poch just, even though like obviously Poch could do better with his tactics, it was specific moments where the team just failed to execute that messed up the result for those games. It wasn't like like the entire game they were just getting dominated and they couldn't play and then they just lost or whatever. It was just at specific moments they screwed up defending a specific corner in transition, or they screwed up by losing the ball in a dangerous area that one time. So getting rid of those silly mistakes is literally the difference between Chelsea finishing 6th and Chelsea being hell in the freaking finishing comfortably top 4 and even being near Liverpool or whatever. So if they can iron out those specific issues, this team is set, especially when combined with when the owners start bringing in more top quality talent. I don't see why Chelsea can't go back to being the Chelsea of old. So
I know one thing that is peculiar with those last 6 games, okay, is that number one, we created a lot of chances, much more than the goals we scored, okay, and then number 2 is you will see towards the end of those games, those guys were fighting not to lose or drop points.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not just about the scoreline alone. It's not just about the opposition or the level of opposition. It's what it's doing to the growth, development, and the mindset and the mentality of the team. Okay, so that is why I'm very happy about the last few games that we played. Okay, and I don't see us sort of. And okay, another thing I forgot to mention is why I'm so happy is people are saying like, oh, because Europe we didn't get Europe. I don't care about Europe as long as it's not the Champions League for Chelsea. The only reason why I subscribed to us playing Europe last season or the season just ended was because I wanted our young team to play as many games as possible for their own development. But guess what? This coming season, these guys are going to play a lot of football. Okay, some of them are going to play Copa America. Some of them are going to play the Euros. Some of them are going to play the Olympics. Okay, and then before the season starts, so they are going to play a lot of football this time around. So I've got no hesitation about in terms of the number of games. Okay, so I don't really care. Maybe to me, finishing top 6 wasn't basically for European football. Finishing top 6, okay, was because of the number of points we were going to accumulate.
But
So if this team, hold on, Nana. So if this team was able to accumulate 63 points, okay, just by looking, just by observing or evaluating what we've gone through, are you saying we cannot add extra 10, 15 points to what we got this season?
Abdul. Burnley and Sheffield.
Yeah.
We were 2-1 up against Burnley.
Exactly.
If we won both those games, right, and the results remain the same, we're in the Champions League. I don't think people understand that.
No. I understand
in the Champions League.
Okay, your annoyance at those results is definitely valid, right? Like I'm not even going to disagree with that. However, I would say that those because I think what they didn't. I think they choked like 5 games in a row or something like that, right?
Good,
So-
yeah. We were 2-0 we were 2-0 up for about 5 games straight, and we didn't win.
They almost choked the Man United game as well.
Oh my god, yo!
Yeah, I think they almost choked this game too, actually, because I think they were up.
We did. No, this is why I'll say there's a difference that was made. The Forest game, Abdul, you don't know when it was 2-1 Forest. When Cho scored, I was about to say I'm done. I was so done, right?
Oh, they did this. Oh, they did this in the Leeds game too, actually. So
Yeah, and these
the
guys
Leeds game,
got
they
back.
were up 2, and then they had to win last minute. The
Nah,
Newcastle game, I think they were up 3, but to be fair, I think Jacob Murphy scored like a really good goal or something like that. So I'm not gonna hold that one against it. But then yeah, last the game they choked the 2-goal lead, but they ended up winning. They just choked the 2-goal lead and they screwed it up. They choked the 2-goal lead, but they ended up winning. They choked the 2-goal. So basically, honestly, if you know, it's funny if you think about it, right? There was like kind of a progression throughout the season. So first 6 games, they were failing to execute, and they only won one of those games. Then like the middle portion of the season, they were just inconsistent in terms of like results. And then towards like the beginning like late February, early March or whatever, they could play well enough to be in winning possessions, but they didn't have the mentality or the ability to see those games out. And obviously, like the last 5 games of the season, like they're able to actually like stay consistent and win games. So like there has been like a progression in terms of like how these games have gone. I don't know if I'm making sense on that. So I think that is also worth like pointing out as well.
Exactly. So my take on it is we ended the season with 63 points. Okay, just by just simple evaluation, you could tell that okay, this team has the capability to add minimum 10 extra points next season. Okay, so and where will that get us? We're talking about 70 something points. Okay, so this I'm saying this is the area where I'm most happy and impressed. Okay, so going into next season, I don't have any fear, Nana. I don't have any fear, except something drastic happens. Except something drastic happens, and I'm not think from what I'm seeing, I don't think. I think the only person that they might lose is someone that is not that if they cannot keep that person, if they don't keep a player, that's when they will decide to allow the player to go. I don't think this guy will sit down on a round table and start, decapitating the team and go like, oh, the way Chelsea fans are at the moment. Oh, this player should go, that player should go, this player should go on loan, that player they should sell this player should leave. I don't think this. How do you do that to a young team that you just put down together?
No,
You're not going to decapitate a team of 20, 21, 22-year-old players after only one season. Why are you going to do that? So I've got absolutely no fear. I understand we have to be very careful. Okay. But even just looking at it on paper, you could tell like, wow, this team should have accumulated maybe like 10 extra points.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think them finishing the way that they did. I guess the last portion for the Chelsea part is what does a successful season look like for you next year? What do you think?
To me, a successful season. Oh, okay. If I'm going to be realistic, and I'll say
Yeah,
like, oh,
I'm gonna
actually not maybe like realism, maybe to say that will make me feel fulfilled next season.
okay, yeah, like basically like
What,
it's like if you're I don't know, you're whoever's cooking for you, they give you something like it's not the greatest food you ever ate, but like it's fine. Like I'm full. I can go to bed now. Type of type of way. But what does that season look like for you in the analogy?
Okay, the season, if it's a season of just I'm full, I can go to bed now. Okay, I'll say a season that gives me 10 extra points. So that's like 73 points.
Yeah.
Okay. But the season that will make me most fulfilled next season is if we finish like 80 points. So that means adding 20 extra points
Mhm.
to the points we finished the season. So
Okay.
this season we'll finish with 63 points. Okay. If we're able to add 20 extra 20, if we're able to accumulate 20 extra points to that at the end of next season, so that's like finishing with 80 points. Okay, that would be great progression in my own eyes. That would be like total fulfillment.
Mhm. I agree, and
Okay,
I think
so
for me, like a season that I would say would be fulfilling would be, I would say anywhere from like 70 to 80 points. And I would also want, though, I would want a good progression in like the cup competition. So like a good, I don't know, a good Europa League run, let's say, because Europa League has a decent level of teams, even though it's not quite the Champions League. So I'm not even saying that's to win it, but like at least make a semi-final run, push at the Europa League, and then do that while also getting like 70, 80 points. I think is a good enough season for next year. That should be like what they should be. That should be like the midpoint of what they should aim for, at the very least.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I agree.
and then
I think that's the level we have to get to.
yeah,
But we can't take it for granted. So people's eyes have to be on the ball from day dot.
mhm.
We can't be doing all that nonsense. That is why I actually um, believe that we should actually evaluate Poch and assess him by the end of Christmas.
I
And if not, if
Abdul, we're literally thinking the same. That was exactly what I said. I've said this before in the group chat. I said that I would give Poch until the end of December and see where he's at.
exactly, I'm not just going to give him like one free full, free for all kind of full season. It has to be end of December. And if it's not close to what we want, then that should be the ideal time. We should just allow him to go.
Mhm.
We can go through a season. We can go through this kind of season next season. I don't care. It's not ideal. We can't be at the same level. There has to be progression. And we need to be seeing the signs of those progression from the start of the season. Which
Yeah,
I believe this group of players are actually acquire the experience. They've acquired experience to be able to start performing from the start of the season. You know, but I don't know. That's I don't know.
I mean, to be
They're
fair,
the
I am actually pretty excited for him next year. Just like, and honestly, it's probably been the first time I've been able to say that in about 2 years. So,
exactly.
all right, I think I'm gonna end the streaming because we've been going for like 3 hours. My goodness. So, thanks for.
Yeah. No worries, man.
I'll probably have honestly. I'll probably do another stream sometime this week. Doing a preview of some of the cup finals. Maybe talking over some of the other teams I didn't talk about, like Newcastle and Man United, since they're actually gonna see if they're actually gonna be relevant for next year.
Yeah, yeah.
And see if I can finally get some of these other bumps to come out here because they always be ignoring me in the group chat, but it's okay. It's all
Yeah.
over. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
No worries. Let's go. All right. Take it easy. Have a
All
good
right, you
evening.
too. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.